Hey guys. Make sure my voice does work. Crystal, I think you were the firstest one in the club. Hannah, hello, hello. Asherella, hello. Venus Flytrap. How are you guys? Good to see everybody. It's almost your birthday, June 1st, and you're turning 16. Nice, Daniel. Hope you have a good sweet 16. Stay out of trubs. Sip on some bubs, but don't. And by that I mean soda. Marvin, respect the grind. Thank you. The grind never stops. Never, never, never stops. I hope when I'm dead, I hope that people fight for the rights to sell my narrations worldwide on video cassette tape. Nana, you're eating ramen? That's what I like to hear. What flavor? Chicken or beef? Cashy, what's up? Stream Sour Candy, Blackpink, and Gaga. Is that a song? Or is that a type of actual candy flavor from Willy Wonka's factory? A mannequin of chaos. Hey you, thank you for the $2. Thanks for being the first dono of the night like usual. It's good to see ya. Hey, there's Gothic Rose. I was curious about you last time. I hope everything's going well for you.
Hey, listen.
Medina, hey, what's going on, everybody? Hope everyone's having a great night. And Joel, I'd fight for your right. Thank you. Fight for my right to party, baby. Maya, thank you for the 2. Appreciate that. Much love right back to you. Cashy, thanks for the promo. It's a song. Oh, nice. Did you write that song? Dead Let's Read. It's a thick corpse. Very thick and bloated. That's how I stay thick. I just lay in a bunch of like stagnant water and gather bloat. Nora, thank you. Thank you. Appreciate the love. DJ, this truck driver, appreciate you, bro. Thank you. Yeah, my father is currently in the profession of driving truck as well, so it definitely seems like finding the entertainment where you can out there on the road is definitely quite important. Hannah with the $3 says, I only have $12, so this is a little so-y. Thank you. No, Hannah, that's okay. That's a large percentage of your $12 to be thrown around like that. But either way, I really do appreciate it, Hannah. Thank you. Yeah, there's never an obligation to donate, but I do really appreciate it, guys. And I hope you're doing well. Archon with the 5 says, let me get this out of the way before the reading. That's fair. I appreciate that, Archon. Just pump it out. Trucker Horror Stories. Kate, actually there are some Trucker Horror Stories on the channel. If you search on the search bar within the channel, you'll find those going a little ways back. They're quite creepy and eclectic. Zero, you love listening while driving, but you daydream too much. Yeah, I feel like if someone uses my voice to fall asleep, they may be conditioned to maybe doing that while on the road, and it would not be the safest thing ever, but maybe just chew gum and drink some coffee while doing it. And keep your window open. That's what I was always told. If you're driving and you're having trouble falling asleep, you gotta chew gum, keep your window open, turn up that music nice and loud. That's a scary sensation whenever you're driving home on the highway and all of a sudden you like start to drift off, because you never know whenever that like drift off could take you somewhere you don't want to be. Luna, first time on your live stream. Well, welcome. Yeah, for the first 20 minutes or so, we just kind of let people roll in. We're actually almost at 200 concurrent viewers right now, so I appreciate that. and we just kind of chilling out, and till the timer ticks down. It's on screen bottom right, and then we shall enter into the spooky world of some high school stories, which I know all of you might very much appreciate. I think they're one of my favorite kind of stories, just like the younger school stories. Anything related to school, it's got to be good, whether it's elementary, middle school, high school, college, university. Julia, hey babes. Hey babes. Stacy, I see you. Welcome, welcome. Christine, you playing some Animal Crossing? Nice. Have you built any pipe bombs in that game? I heard you can do that to really clear out the land. High school gang gang. Hey Lils. What's happening? Greetings from under the car. Oh shit. What's going on with that car? Yeah, click that likey like button if you haven't already, guys. And I was supposed to say sorry and not sorry. Sorry. It's like a sorry with a kid with a speech impediment. Sorry about that. No, I do. I really appreciate it. Scare Central, you're watching Midsommar. Thoughts? My thoughts on Midsommar, I talked about them before on some of the streams. It's definitely a good movie, you know what I mean? It's definitely, I'm right there with it being a very good movie. The degree in which like a lot of the main characters kind of justified some of the stuff that would, I think, otherwise would have made other people really, really paranoid very early on, kind of threw me off guard, or like disconnected me from the sort of immersion that the film had, because I always get annoyed with that, you know what I mean, like in scary movies, like the decisions that the main characters make and stuff, just the poor decisions that they make. And I just, not to give any spoilers of it, but there's eventually a point where you're just kind of wondering yourself, like, why are they sticking through this? Like, are the drugs like still in their system, just influencing their decisions? But at least that's how I kind of felt towards it, and then it just sort of progressively got more insane from that point. Rilko God with the 2 says, hey Joe, I saw your pic on Discord, you're handsome. Hey, thank you. Appreciate that. Try my best here, while also not trying at all. Gothic Rose with the 5 Canadian maple syrup dollars says, hey, hate missing your streams. Listening while editing. I gotta sneeze, hold on. Corona sneeze. Hate missing your streams. Listening while editing tomorrow's video. Miss you all. Yeah, it's good to see you again, Gothic, honestly. It's always a pleasant face to see in there, and just always keeping up to date on whenever something needs done in the mod chat, or in the chat. So I really do appreciate that. And Bridget Jones with Bridget Jones's Diary with the 5 says, good evening. Good evening, Bridget Jones. How art thou? Bless my soul. Thank you. Thank you, darling. All these amazing blessings. I'm feeling the power of the blessings go through me. Hey, y'all, stop playing for my grandma. She getting too strong. That was a good meme. Where the grandma's like climbing up the side of like a church.
Full-grown pizza.
Hey, Larry Hammerslay. Man, that's a great name. Oh my goodness. I guess if you were like a porn star. Thank you for joining the cult, Larry. Appreciate that. Welcome, welcome. Another full-grown pizza. How fart thou? Sneeze on me, daddy. No, you don't. Do not want these germs. These are full-blown corona germs. How do you become a member? How do you become a member, guys? Is it down, I think it's either on the page somewhere it says join, or like, I don't know if it's in conjunction with like the little dollar sign that you click to donate or anything like that. Honestly, it's kind of embarrassing that I don't watch a lot of streams on YouTube, and it's kind of hard to see from my end, but I'm fairly certain there's a button that says join, and that's how one goes about that. Brian, chat is a laggy a little. Yeah, I don't know why. Sometimes I kind of wonder if like, hey Bailey, what's up? Yo 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 yo. I see ya. No need to spam. But sometimes chat's a little strange. Especially, I don't know if it's like near the end of the month for internet, because I mean, do you guys have internet that they start to like throttle you after a while or something like that, and your download speed doesn't stay consistent but just gets kind of like throttled? And I sort of at times wonder if that comes into play or not. But Brittany, been meaning to join for a while, but I get distracted. Hey, no worries. Hey. Oh, we got HP Gucci pencils with the $2. Says, love your stream so much. You all have been watching. Nice, I appreciate that. I'm glad you can be here and join a little live stream. And Cecil with the 20 buckaroonies. Big dono of the night. Thank you, Cecil. Just thanks for being you. Thank you, Cecil. Appreciate that. I will continue to do my best to stay true to myself, true to my heart, true to my fart. Mara T with the 10 says, much love to you, Joel. Thank you, Mara. Izzy likes monkeys. I like monkeys too. My friend sent me a picture of like a chimp that was standing inside of like a lake, and it was like holding its hand out like it wanted you to grab its hand. And he just said, these things are freaking terrifying. And they are pretty terrifying, chimps. They're just like, I don't know if you look at them, they're just like balls of muscle with just a complete terrifying sense of savagery to them. And you always hear like this one story this guy had about wrestling with a chimp that was just like full on trying to kill him, but then like he had to use all of his strength to like, when the chimp ran at him, to like grab him and then like throw him over him, like rolling, using the momentum. And then he said afterwards the chimp was just like sitting in the in the chair next to him, like eating a bowl of cereal or some shit, and as if though he didn't even care, but he could have killed him easily. It's insane how strong they are. Brittany, thank you for becoming a full-grown pizza and a member of the cult. Welcome, welcome. YouTube be tripping, didn't get my notification. Yeah, YouTube's kind of trippy when it comes to giving out notifications for live streams, because you would think it would notify like everyone, but because it's like not like a typical streaming service type scenario, it's like sort of weird, I guess. Joel watching too much Joe Rogan. Yeah, I've turned into Joel Exotic and Joel Rogan all at the same time. But chimps are terrifying. Well, like I always thought, like, what if chimps were like way more vengeful? Like, what if they were like not quite as smart as humans or something like that, but like, I don't know, like went out of their way to do like really, really terrifying stuff. Like remember those sort of goblin-like creatures from Skyrim, and how they all had like clothing and lived in caves and stuff? Like, that sounds terrifying. Why don't I use Twitch? Well, my ability to sort of transfer people over to Twitch would be pretty hard, I think. To be honest with you, like I just don't really, I remember one time I tried to do a Twitch stream before, and I got like one person there, and this was back at like 100,000 subscribers, so it was just like really, really hard to kind of make that happen. So if I were to try to switch people over to Twitch, I don't really know how I would go about doing it. Would be really hard, honestly. But at least with here, it's like you get like a notification from YouTube, as opposed to like, I feel like only the most hardcore of fans would have to would get notifications on my social medias where I would pretty much promote it unless it was like on a video or something. And it's just, yeah, switching over to a new platform is just hard. Sloths or monkeys? Well, definitely sloths if it comes to like having a pet. But monkeys are cool, but monkeys are also very savage creatures. My grandfather actually was kind of like a Joe Exotic type, you know, in my area with collecting a lot of exotic animals. You know, it's a very common thing here in the United States. It's kind of hilarious. And I never really thought much of it, you know what I mean, growing up. But monkeys are, you know, they're just like anything. They're cute when they're babies and they trust you and that kind of thing. But as time goes on and they begin to sort of exist within their more instinctual nature, like they're just like tigers, some pretty ruthless creatures that pretty much exist kind of beyond the realm of rhyme or reason. But obviously it depends, I guess, you know. You might get that one that speaks sign language and just wants to paint all day, but you also might get that one that wants to shove its feces down your throat, and it's just too much of a risk anymore. Lila, it's still not working for you. Oh, man. I don't know. I really don't know what to say. Maybe if you turn down, like, the quality of the stream itself from HD. I don't know if that helps, but sloths are much more passive. Don't throw huge primal fits or throw poo. I know, it's pretty nice. Sloths are too slow to really even reach their butt. It's like if they were reaching back there to grab their poop, you could just like kind of gently guide them with your finger back to their tree stamp, and they would be like, oh, okay. I guess I wasn't gonna hurt you, I promise. You grew up in Florida. People have big, crazy exotic animals. Neighbor had a Florida panther. Yeah, the panther thing to me is weird because I've heard that like cougars to a degree can be trained and operate in similar fashions to like pets, but at the same time it's like you never know. The ones that are kept out in their cage, and then you know you had that neighbor that you haven't seen for a while, and then you go to their back, you do a wellness check on them, and lo and behold, like half their body is like mangled and eaten inside of the panther cage. And whoopsie daisies. Crystal with the 5 says your voice is my favorite. I don't know why. I don't know. Maybe it's Maybelline. Big cat. Big cat. Yeah. I mean, I can barely trust my own cat. Like, Pradeep is honestly such a nice boy, but there will be random times where I'm walking down the hall, and unbeknownst to me, he's had it planned in his mind the entire time that he was preparing to latch onto my leg, you know? And I think part of it means he wants attention and stuff, but, you know, once they kind of get out of control and they start getting in that even like a play mode, you know what I mean? Like a big cat's like in a play mode or whatever. Oh, Medina, maybe I re-upped your sponsorship there, or membership rather. But thank you, Medina. It like didn't show up on screen unless I missed it. Well, either way, thank you and welcome to the cult. But, you know, like that one video of that Saf, you know, and Tiger King getting their arm ripped off. That was brutal. And, you know, that big cat was probably just like playing for the most part, you know, as if though it would play with another big cat, or like, you know, kind of territorially mess around. Or maybe it was going for the kill. You really never know with these creatures, I feel like. Paul says, I had a dream about zombie crocodiles killing flamingos. Whoa, that sounds intense. Sounds like some Magic the Gathering right there. Yeah, thank you, Medina. Yeah, usually on like Twitch, you guys might notice it like tells people like whenever they're kind of when they're what's it called? Subscription. When they've like been like a subscriber for a period of months or whatever, and it like some people have cool like animations, like where it like stacks pancakes, and that's how many months you've been around, and it's really neat. You know what I mean? But I don't think right now, at least with YouTube, like I hope they make some changes to their streams so it's like more mainlined. You know what I mean? But obviously we're still in the early works of it, so it's hard to tell. Alex E with the 2 says, "Ayo Joseph, buy yourself another sody pop." Thank you, Alex. I don't even got one near me tonight, but I will be getting one with that $2 so I appreciate that. Nick says, "Hey Dad, you wished me a good sleep last time." Well, Nick, I hope you continue to have amazing sleep. I actually slept like most of my entire day away today. I stayed up late as usual. Back on the Overwatch train, addicted to that constant rage. I don't know why. I'm in this weird spot right now where I just, other than the gym, I don't really know what the heck I'm doing with my life. I mean, obviously I'm here with you guys, which makes me happy. But I just, I'm almost thinking like after the stream, maybe if I should take some ZQuil and try to get back to a normal sleep schedule, because, man, it's been kind of fudged up. And it does feel pretty good to rise with the sun. NB Canada 57 with the 14 maple syrup doll hair says, "What day is tomorrow? Friday? But the fact that it's almost June is crazy. Thanks for not letting me go crazy during the whole quarantine. Since this is Canada, we might get snow next week." That's true. You never know. Well, I'm glad I kept you from going stir crazy, turning into another shining episode. All work and no play turns NB Canada into a dull boy. But it is hard to keep track of the days, honestly, especially whenever things are just not normal. June. I know. June. What the hell? Julia B with the 2. Thank you, Julia. This is a good song. You should always sleep when you get the chance. I mean, it's true. Now that I've been going kind of back to the gym, I think my body was just kind of telling me to get some sleep, and then I just like kept doing it, and I don't know. I think the things that your body does while it's asleep is like incredibly, incredibly important. So gotta do it. Gotta get it while you can. And especially as you get older, I think it comes less and less. 1 week till the party. Oh shoot, yeah. Hannah's gonna be ripping shots with us. You vibing with the song? Yeah, it's a good one. I feel bad. Maybe I should let it play out, and then we shall kick over to Iron Cthulhu Apocalypse here. Let me check my downloads and see where I can... Yeah, there it is. Iron Cthulhu Apocalypse. But either way, before we kick it off, guys, I want to thank you guys so much for being here. We're at over 300 concurrent viewers, which is badass. And click that like button if you haven't already. Click share out to Twitter, Instagram, wherever you consume social media and all that good stuff. And if you have a story that you have experienced something spooky dooky, be sure to send it to my subreddit, which is reddit.com/r/letsreadofficial. And, you might even hear it on another video. And then also follow me at Let's Read Creepy on Twitter and Let's Read.official on Instagram. Okay, we're gonna be switching over here, baby. Perfect timing. Maybe I should do that more often. Just wait for the song to finish out before cutting it out like that. Savage Girl with the 2 says, "I love your videos." Thank you, Savage. That's very savage of you. Andrew B, looking at your artwork on Discord, you are very talented. Thank you. You must have had to scroll pretty high up there to get to my artwork. I have not done really any sort of, I mean, unless you're looking at like other people's stuff, but there is a lot of talented people in in the Discord for sure when it comes to like art. But I had, posted some of the stuff I did back in college and like that whenever I was bored. I have not. I remember I honestly, before I got into nursing and stuff like that, I really, really wanted to do, what's it called? I really wanted to do like concept design and things like that for like video games. And, my dad was like, I don't think that's a very common job to come across, but, ooh, who is this? Yeah. Oh my goodness, Nicholas W. with the $70 Canadian maple syrup dollar donation. Holy woza hoza. Yo, you're my favorite scary videos YouTuber, bro. I've been watching you forever now. You have the best and most soothing voice. Man, keep it up. Thank you, Nicholas. Holy crap. Thank you for the huge $70 donation. I really, really do appreciate that. That's incredibly kind of you. I really do appreciate that. Goodness gracious. That's one way to get my booty moving. But yeah, haven't done art in forever. Kind of would like to do it. Fry, it's crazy to me. Fry, like, will do portraits of people and they look like photorealistic, and it's just strange to me. Like, I don't even know, like, at what point in like people's like development as far as like art goes do they sort of like take that leap where their like art begins to look like photorealistic, you know what I mean? Because like, I don't know, Fry, I don't know where you learned to draw or who taught you, if you got like private lessons growing up, but or if you just taught yourself. That would be very amazing to me. Shell Bell with the 2 says the live reads keep me entertained at work. Thank you. You're welcome, Shell. Thank you for the 2. Appreciate that. Well, guys, we shall kick it off once again. Thanks for being here as the numbers continue to climb, and peeps, I hope you all enjoy each other. It's been a fun community. I've loved being part of it, and I'm pretty excited about these stories, these high school stories. It's always such a strange time in people's lives. YouTube tutorials, that's crazy, man. That is honestly nuts. Like, I've met a lot of like cool artists here on through doing YouTube stuff, and it's just I'm endlessly impressed with people's abilities. Even if it's not like ultra realistic stuff that people draw, like just like their imagination and where it takes them, and their abilities to just illustrate things, and some people, how quickly they do it too in such a short period of time. Like, that's the stuff that really wilds me out, you know. Jessa, you sent your drawings. Nice. I remember you mentioned you were going to do that, but I didn't know if you sent it over DM or if it was in the art Discord, the Discord area of the art. Nuno says, let's read, why you not doing long creepypastas? Oh, yeah. Well, this has kind of become my niche here on YouTube as far as doing true scary stories. I do hope at one point to maybe, if I ever do, like, start another channel where I read creepypastas, but being able to find time to do all of that and just kind of coordinate that entire effort would be a little bit difficult, but you never know. Down the road, maybe that's a whole nother possibility. And how to get the idea for your intros. My personal favorite is the Pyramid and the Skull Man dude with the live TV. Yeah, that was the TV one. Was Robin designed that one, and I thought that was so awesome, and I love the music that goes with it. It's very ominous, and I think that this video actually will have that opening. And then the subscriber story one, which is with the triangle, like, and it's kind of like a retro feel. That's actually based on like an old video called like Illuminati training video, which is really funny. It's an interesting watch if you ever get a chance, but I just changed it from like saying like Illumicorp to Let's Read, just because I kind of wanted that intro to like live on, because it seemed as if though it's long since been forgotten. Let's Read is Illuminati confirmed. Confirmed. Let's read. Hiya, y'all. So my name is Alex, and I went to high school here in Liverpool in the UK. Our school was a bit different than some of the others in the area. Oh, geez, someone just went by in a really, really loud motor for some reason. That was weird. Hiya, y'all. So my name is Alex, and I went to high school here in Liverpool in the UK. Our school was a bit different than some of the others in the area in that it offered us a chance to partake in the combined cadet force. The CCF... Sorry, that sounded so odd. In that it offered us a chance to partake in the combined cadet force. The CCF started for us once we hit 14, and you got the choice of either the Army, Navy, Air Force, or community service. Being a red-blooded male with a liking for all things military, I chose the Army, and it was honestly one of the most fun times I've ever had in my entire time at school. Every Thursday, we got to dress up in camouflage clothing to go to a school in... Every Thursday, we got to dress up in camouflage clothing to go to school in. This included boots, berets, all that stuff, and my God, it felt cool getting into that gear and marching off to school. With like every other kid in the area who went to other schools thinking we were incredibly cool. Sorry, this whole sentence is like really long, and someone has to keep track of my mistakes because I'm already off to a beautiful, beautiful start. Christian, yes. Yeah, always interested, like people who kind of catching like streams off the cuff, but basically this is it. Me reading the stories and chat just doing their best to get me to go off on tangents, which I definitely do appreciate. Why did I stop reading? Yeah, probably because of a mistake. If I stop reading, it's because I made a mistake and need to re-record it. Because I'm like recording as I'm speaking to you guys. I actually have two mics very tightly pressed into each other. And hey, love you as well. Or else I will. Yeah, you definitely could turn this into a drinking game for sure. Hey Sam, thanks. Every Thursday, we got to dress up in camouflage clothing to go to school in. This included boots, berets, all that stuff, and my God, it felt cool getting into that gear and marching off to school. With like every other kid in the area who went to other schools thinking we were incredibly cool as well. But it didn't come without its hazards. You see, like most high schools, there were a few bullies that made life for the rest of us pretty much unbearable. And I was no different. One kid was intent on making my life as terrible as possible, and I'd be lying if I said he didn't succeed on a few occasions. But, little side note here, I wasn't nearly as tall or as strong as this kid. However, once I got super sick of the maltreatment and decided to get a little payback. We were playing football one afternoon during PE, which is physical education, and me and my bully were on opposite teams. I ended up marking him, basically trying to make sure he didn't get the ball, or if he did, he wouldn't have it much longer. At one point he gets the ball, kind of chuckles when he sees me as if to be like, what are you gonna do, short stuff? Then tries to jink past me. I just throw myself into, if I may so my... Oops, sorry, that sounded weird. I just throw myself into, if I may so my... Oh, I see, okay. I just throw myself into, if I may say so myself, a near-perfect slide tackle, taking the ball out from under him and felling him like a freaking oak tree. He smashes into the ground, wind knocked out of him, appealing for a foul, but our teacher just tells him to get up, as it was a fair tackle, albeit a little rough. I can't even tell you how amazing that felt, seeing that look on his face. But that feeling paled in comparison to the anxiety I felt when I realized he wasn't about to just let this slide, no pun intended. He was clearly out to get revenge, in a big, bad way, and that was something I was definitely not looking forward to. Anyway, we ended up going on this big field trip to an army base just north of Liverpool at this place called Altcar. Oh shit, I don't know how to say that word. Hold on a second. Let me look that up. I think I missed a dono. Oh yeah, Alana Murray with a 3. Thank you, Alana. Appreciate that. Is anybody familiar with the Altcar? Alt. If I can type. Only bad thing with all these mics is I got like 9 chords like interfering with my keyboard. Altcar. Sometimes when I do definition, it gives you the pronunciation. Maybe not. It's so unreliable sometimes. Let's see. Altcar pronounce. Dude, every website that has like pronounce. Oh, maybe this will work.
Altcar.
I don't know. Does anybody familiar with this place? Is it just kind of like pronounce how it's said? You never know with the UK or really anywhere. Does Pradeep like to play with the chords? You know, he does once in a while. He'll get into it. I actually had to get a nylon threaded headphone cord that was longer because when he was younger, he would really try to go for him. But as he's got older, he seems to care less and less about him. Though sometimes I'll notice like he'll go over to just like a random. He'll just have like a sort of random set of zoomies where he goes insane and just starts like tearing into anything he can, which is pretty funny to watch. I don't know if it's because he just wants attention. But I remember we had like this like Wii U like cord or something like that, and it just like got placed in front of him for half a second as he was a kiddie, and he just ripped it in two in like 1 second flat. Deep. Oh my god, hearing your voice say a regular sentence is so weird. That's true. It's quite odd. It hit different. Scorpio think it's alt-cart or all-cart. I just don't want to say like a store, like a place this early on, like, and you get those comments like, actually it's pronounced Berkeley. It's actually pronounced Alt-Qatar. How do I feel about philosophical questions? Oh, those are my favorite. I like philosophical questions the most. Hey, there's Robin. Hey, Robin. I like philosophical questions the most because I guess they allow for the most like creativity to answer them. Whereas when you're asked like a political question, it's definitely very subjective. But because I think what pisses people off about politics the most is that like there's always a connotation to it, or like sort of a inclination to the fact that like someone telling you what they think, they're telling you how they think your life should be run, you know what I mean? And even though they themselves don't necessarily have any power to actually change your life in any way or rule over it, there's almost like this sort of like internalized subconscious threat that people feel when they hear someone else's political viewpoint, because their mind sort of extrapolates that to like so many like anxious hypotheticals on like the potential that their worldview suddenly will become the reality that is different from their perspective or their desire for the output of the world. And I think that's what creates the sort of divisive nature, is that a lot of it is so sort of in many ways just so hypothetical, but it's a hypothetical that feels like a reality to us, you know, whenever people discuss it. What's the meaning of life? I don't know. I remember, you know, a lot of people will give you a lot of different answers. The most objective answer I can say, and I heard someone say it, it's like, and this is like, you know, trying to keep like religion or anything of that nature out of it, but I think chasing after happiness, you know what I mean? Like, and I know that can be, you know, kind of taken out of context to say like, oh, you know, well, it makes me happy to hurt people, but like obviously you're gonna have to be relatively common sense with it. But at the end of the day, like, it's only you that can control what makes you feel sort of content and satisfied and stuff inside. I want the Destroyer 6 comet to hit me in the face. Jeez, if that's what makes you happy, Hannah, I'm sure. But who knows? Maybe after a week, that won't be your desire. Sir Mini-Me with the 5 says, "Yo, Mini-Me here to steal your credit card information." I don't know why, that's such a funny meme to me, like just like where there's like that like little anime girl and she's like poking her fingers there and she's like, "Hi, I was just, curious if maybe I could have your credit card information, please." And then like has like the details of your expiration date and your secret code on the back. PewDiePie needs your help. He needs your mother's credit card information, along with the expiration date and 3 digits on the back. Bridget Jones with the 10 says, "If you could teach everyone in the world one concept, what concept do you think would have the biggest impact on humanity?" I guess the concept of the do no harm concept, you know what I mean? Or the, essentially like the do no harm, or like the, like that whole like, and this isn't to like, once again, this isn't to dive into politics, but I mean like the whole like that libertarian flag with like the snake on it and stuff, it's kind of become a meme at this point, but it says like, "Don't tread on me." And I know a lot of people kind of associate that with like, gun-toting Southerners and shit like that. But really, at the end of the day, I think the concept sort of inclines itself towards like, don't bring harm onto other people. Don't step on them. You know what I mean? Don't consider their property your property. Don't, if you're going to do something, really consider whether or not that's going to bring harm on another individual. And I know a lot of times people might sit there and say that, well, it's justified for the greater good, but I guess I would kind of argue against that, that if that sort of philosophy of not treading on others, would be implemented even from like a governmental standpoint, where the government doesn't perceive your property as their property, but more as like they perceive their job as like a desire to protect you, as a society, though that can be, I'm sure, taken to a million different levels of like reasoning because it is the government. But basically just respecting what is yours and respecting what is others, and not bringing harm to them to acquire their resources. But at the end of the day, it's tough because I heard someone, they discussed, from the time that you're born until the time that you die, like you are kind of in many ways like just constantly competing for resources, whether that's, monetarily or food, shelter, all of the in between, your personal needs from others, the things that you want to fulfill, whether they're romantic, they're all kind of based around a certain sense of selfishness, but I mean, that is just sort of innately built into us, a sense of self-preservation and trying to better us and ours as long as we can. But it's hard, it does take a strong sense of discipline to sort of become selfless, Elizabeth Dillinger thank you for becoming a full-grown pizza and a member of the cult. For you, empathy, just being close to other humans beyond a superficial level. Yeah, I definitely do appreciate that. I think women are much better at sort of empathizing with people, like when you actually, whenever you actually, I don't know, when you tell a girl something, most of the time, it seems as if though they actually seem to go out of their way to really appreciate and be mindful to your sort of expression, whereas on the opposite end, I feel like for males, it's not quite as, it's not, I don't know if it's just like not innately built into males to be sort of empathetic towards things. That's not to say that they aren't capable of doing such to an equal or greater degree, you know what I mean? But it just seems like it's a more common trait within girls, and I think that's sort of like motherly nature within women is always just some of the most refreshing feelings you can get in a society. Sir Assington with the 10 bucks. Is there a story that has personally frightened me? Well, thank you for the 10. Shoot, to be honest, like, they all kind of like, obviously I would not want any of them to happen to me, but I don't know what it is about like the paranormal stuff that really like kind of strikes me in a different chord, where no longer am I sort of bound by the fact that I am sort of like a intimidating male of sorts, you know what I mean, to sort of like have 50% of the population have no desire to harass me or whatever, even though that's still within the realm of possibility, whether you get robbed at gunpoint or some shit like that, but or someone breaks in your house or just has some male intent against you. But I'm fortunate in the fact that obviously like most of these stories seem to kind of revolve around girls and their experiences, whether or not they're, just more vulnerable or there's some sort of sexual element to it as well, you know what I mean? So I'm thankful to that. But there's something about the paranormal aspect that seems to kind of plight everybody, you know what I mean? And I haven't had a lot of paranormal stuff, but just this sort of like fear of the unknown that goes along with it definitely makes me feel like it's a possibility at some point, you know what I mean? But at the same time, I guess a lot of people don't really find paranormal stuff to be too scary. Angel Jones with the 5 says, I love listening to your videos whenever I'm doing something school related, like right now. You have such a soothing voice, it keeps me focused. See, that's cool. Whenever I would like listen to music or something, or like listen to people talk about stuff, I almost feel like I would struggle reading and listening to someone's voice, because my like the part of my brain that like processes the reading words like would be interfered by the words that would be said by the other person. So maybe my voice operates in a certain wavelength that's able to kind of shut it out, but also maintain a certain level of like pacing, I guess you could say, like a certain vibration and pacing that's pretty good. But so I'm glad I can help you get schoolwork done and help people sleep and stuff like that, because those obviously some of the hardest things to come by. Hannah's home alone. Have mercy, Lord, have mercy. Anyway, we ended up going on this big field trip to an army base just north of Liverpool at this place called Altcar. All the army kids are there since there had been a lot of hype about the trip. We were due to have an actual live firing session. Yes, we were due to have an actual live firing session. My live streams are chill. I'm glad. Brad, you'll have to get my workouts sometime. Yeah, my workouts, I think, yeah, I mean, it's definitely working out is something where it honestly is important to almost take like a year to like learn how to do the majority of the exercises pretty efficiently and get form down, you know what I mean? Because if you can build that sort of muscle memory, that repetition, that's like, and like, that's safe, you can save yourself a whole lot of headache when it comes to like potential injuries and all that kind of thing. So I would definitely say, like, if you do decide to get into working out, maybe potentially invest in like somebody who's actually physically near you to like, and who has experience with that, to like kind of walk you through different stuff, just so that you don't kind of get ahead of yourself or get hurt. And you should never be ashamed to be starting at low weights, because that's where everybody starts until eventually their muscles and nervous system kind of get used to things. All the army kids are there, since there had been a lot of hype about the trip. We were due to have an actual live firing session, fieldcraft exercises, stuff like that. But we were all really, really excited about the paintball session that they'd promised us at the end of the day. So all is going well until the fieldcraft lesson. We were given these little pallets of camouflage face paint, get split up into two big teams, and then get told we'll basically be playing a giant version of hide and seek among this big wooded area that was contained in the base perimeter. All good, right? Nope. Big nope. Because I'm on the hiding team first, and my bully is on the seeking team. So off we go, into the woods to hide. Me and a mate of mine managed to find these really, really thick bushes to hide in, pretty much impenetrable, and just chill there, keeping as quiet as possible, as we start to hear the seeking team, looking around the woods for us. It was such a rush, hearing people wondering where we were, being totally oblivious to the fact that we were just feet away from them. So you can imagine our absolute disappointment when someone comes stumbling through the bushes to check if there's anyone there. Now, I know what you're thinking. It just so happened to be the bully that found us. Yes, but actually no. It was one of his mates, and while my friend just legged it out of the bushes to find a new hiding place, the bully's mate sees me and pounces. These are all the rugby players, so he doesn't have much trouble gripping a short little goblin like me and holding me in place while he starts shouting for the bully that he's found me, over and over again. I struggle, I fight, but it's no good. The kid pretty much has me in a vice-like headlock, and I'm not going anywhere. But the bully appears. Just so we're all clear on what's happening here, we all pretty much are completely alone in these woods. No one can see us, and the bully guy, who's completely bent on revenge at this point, has me right where he wants me. I honestly thought I was about to die for a moment. He starts punching me in the stomach while his mate holds me still, and as much as I'm kicking and swearing and trying to break free, it's just no good. The punches start landing on my face soon after, and I begin to taste blood in my mouth, and he lands punch after punch around my head and face. Right when I think it can't get much any... Oops. Hey, Joshua with the 5 says, Joel, my guy, just showing love. I can't stay tonight. Oh, that's all good, Josh. Appreciate you being here, and thank you for the 5. Hope you have a good night. Stay safe out there. Anna, thank you. We're having a good night here. Alex, hey, yo, Joseph, happy B-Day next week. Lamau, thank you. Yeah, I don't even know, man. I don't even know. It's just weird. It's weird turning 30. It's I feel like I gotta grow up, but I don't really know what that even entails. Because I think about people who have kids and a house and all that, and it's that sounds amazing, and all part of a thing, but I guess it just kind of comes with time, Oh, Brescia, Joel was a gymnast. No, I was not a gymnast. But got hurt. No, I wasn't a gymnast, nor did I get hurt. Unless gymnast means I was not any of those things. But yeah, I played in high school. I played rugby and football, and we just lifted weights since 8th grade, which was 14 for us. Which I think is a good time for kids to start lifting because their bodies have gone through a good amount of development as far as growth goes, and then at that point they're just kind of developing or able to develop muscles as their bodies continue to produce the hormones necessary to recover and stuff. Oh, Brasser, you were a gymnast. Okay, nice. Yeah, being a gymnast is, I think, a great. I was a Joel mist. Yeah. Yeah, being a gymnast to me, I always was kind of jealous of those types of characters because I don't know. They just have the most body control and usually are the most jacked, which is pretty sweet. And they probably do flippity flip-flops. Aunt Addie says, congrats on living to be 30 years without dying. That's a good point. Muscle mass helps bones. Yeah, no, definitely. Lifting weights and that kind of thing definitely helps strengthen your bone density in conjunction with your muscle growth. B. McQueen with the 5 says, appreciate your narrations. I listen when I'm doing artsy things, and they really help me sleep. don't worry about turning 30. It's not so bad. Yeah, I can't. I mean, it's crazy to me. Like, think like there was this guy, um, on my gym's like, Instagram story where it was like he was doing 40 burpees or whatever for his birthday or something something stupid. You know what I mean? And like, but at the same time, I'm like, you know what? Like, and then there's another guy in my gym who's 50, who's like in better shape than everybody there. And I'm like, you know what? Fuck it, dude. I got 20 years, maybe even more than that, to continue to like get healthy and get in shape and live my life. Like, there really is no, like, you really don't get old until you let yourself get old. And obviously eventually you'll hit a time where the body just might not be able to keep up. But even then, it still seems like people fucking hit it pretty hard, you know? Gonna do a collab with B Buster one day. I absolutely can. Yeah, I love B Buster. I would be down with that anytime. Hannah, you did gymnastics for 7 years. I'm weak now compared to then, and I lift now. Yeah, it's crazy. Like that body core strength stuff. Oops, kicked my desk. That body core stuff is crazy. You know, you just being able to control your butt. Like I had done this, like these GHD sit up things where you like, I don't know, you're on this like weird sort of machine and you like hang way back and come up to do like a crunch. And I was doing those, and honestly, that like killed my abs for like, I want to say like, it didn't hit me till like 3 days after too, which was really strange. But even, yesterday, whenever I was working out, I was trying to do these things called toe to bars, where you just like bring your toes up to the bars as you're hanging off the sort of rig. And, God, it hurts so much. I like could barely do anything. And it honestly felt like my abs were so tired that like, the nervous system aspect of them just like the muscles like wouldn't turn on, you know what I mean? Okay, I've been kind of... Oh, Josh with the 5 said the chat isn't working for me. Shit, that sucks. I'm sorry, Josh. I do apologize. I don't know. A lot of people have been saying that, and I legitimately like don't know why. Like, and I don't know how to like report it. I sound like I'm in college. I guess, I don't know. I probably would never have lost my college like accent. Like, yo, dude, what's good, bro? Let's fucking smash these natties, bro. You get a lot of muscle in 4 months in competitive swimming, yeah. Yeah, I remember the craziest thing was like when you're between the ages of like 15 to 17, like the speed in which your body like generates muscle compared to what you're doing athletically is like so insane. Like I remember like I started off in 1 year, it was and maybe it was just because like my body was kind of like prepared for that, being like, because I was like a lineman at the time. But I remember I was as a freshman, I was squatting like 135 or something as like my max squat or whatever. And then just, it would seem like every day I came in, I was able to just like continuously add like more weight to the bar. And then it was like by the time I was a junior, I was doing like 405, you know what I mean? And it's just really strange, like how quickly the body could adjust and make those like those little incremental growths that really help. The one thing that I regret is whenever I was doing like bench press is that I was so like prideful about being as strong as other people when it came to bench that sometimes I would always put myself in sort of a precarious position of like doing more than I should have, instead of just focusing on the grind. And I think that just like really put me behind in that regard. Hey, Caffeine Monster 6969 with a 10 maple syrup Canadian dollar says, every time I watch any of your videos and stay awake is damn near impossible for me. I just fall asleep in the first story. Keep the stories coming. You bet. Thank you, Caffeine Monster, for the 10. I will do my best, and I'm glad that I can knock you out with my voice. Can't even go around with me, huh? No, I'm just kidding. I honestly do appreciate that. Sleep is very good. Sleep is good. King 26 Rays with the 5 says, yo, what's up, man? Where do you get the ideas for your closing statements? Yeah, that's actually this chat right here. If you're here for the live streams, I will tell them what to tell, what should I say? And they will tell me, and then I will say it. So feel free to, if you stick around till the end, you will have an opportunity to tell me something. Lila with the, oh yeah, the monkey's doing repair. That sucks, yeah. I'm sorry that the chat's broken for some people. I wish it wasn't. But I hope you can still hear my voice and be good. Summer says, I'm off to work on my astral projection. Everyone have a great, okay. Good luck, Summer. Please do be careful and don't go anywhere you're not supposed to. Right when I think it can't get any worse, he picks a stick up off the ground, snaps it in two so that he's basically made a little spear, then starts saying how he's going to take one of my eyes out to teach me a lesson for trying to be the big man during football practice. I start doubling my efforts, kicking and screaming, and the guy holding me has to put a stinking sweaty hand over my mouth to keep me from making too much noise. It was horrendous, literally the worst experience of my entire childhood, watching the sharp end of that stick creeping closer and closer towards my eye. I can still close them over, but that sort of makes... Wait, what? I can still close... Oh, I see. I could still close them over, but that sort of makes it worse. Now I'm just stood there, struggling away, waiting for the moment that sharp stick starts to push against my eyelid. Then, out of nowhere, I hear a shout. Like an oi, oi, followed by a load of rustling leaves. It was one of my fellows who had been assigned to teach us fieldcraft, like this actual regular army bloke who was obviously in no mood to deal with spoiled posh kids. He throws the bully to the ground, and I feel the arm around my throat loosen and disappear as his mate turns tail and flees the scene. The bully got absolutely beasted for the rest of the day, wasn't allowed to do anything else, including paintball, and had to go for these horrible punishment runs. It caused a ton of stuff at my school, with parents complaining about the loose discipline, even though it was supposed to be the military. But after that, he never picked on me again. Maybe getting picked on himself made him think twice about the whole bully thing, but either way, school got a lot easier to deal with after that whole incident. King with the 2 says, gotta say, eat the booty like groceries. I could maybe, but I also probably won't. But which, like, they never specify which grocery they're talking about when eating the booty. You know what I mean? Like, are we talking bananas? You know, avocado, like a jug of ice cream, or maybe like a scoop of Raisin Bran, some Joel Whip on your pumpkin pie. Wonder why it actually blurred out your sentence, Alex. I don't know why. Lila, love you too. Hope you're having a good night. Hope that chat doesn't bug you too much. Goblin, 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 goblin. Ah, goblin. Wheat bread. Chocolate. There you go. Chocolate seems to be the most accurate. 2 scoops. You know what's crazy is, like, Cool Whip or whatever, like the heavy Cool Whip or whatever, like, it actually doesn't have that many, it doesn't have like any sugar in it. It's mainly, I don't even know what it is. It's mainly air, I guess, you know. But if you ever need like a snack or something, just go out there into your fridge and just right in your mouth. And I know it seems kind of gross, but it's not even very calorie dense either, and I think it's primarily just like fats. So, which, as long as it's not sugars, you're good to go. You have so much chocolate on your bed right now, just like melting everywhere, just swimming in it. Joel cream. I'm totally about to give my identity away 100% if anyone here knows me, but whatever. Hopefully I can rejig a few details to salvage my anonymity. So throughout the entirety of the 9th grade, I was homeschooled. Not for any particular reason, I don't think. Like, it's not as if my parents were super religious or anything, although my mom did attend church occasionally. Myself and my siblings were schooled at home partly because they loved to party. My parents loved to party. Bridget Jones with the $10 says, Can can free will exist with fate or destiny, or is that impossible? Thanks for entertaining these. Absolutely, I like those questions, and thank you for the 10. I've always thought that, like, growing up in like church, they always talked about, like, that's always been the strangest paradox to me. Was it was like you were destined, for heaven, or destined, for God, or what have you there, and but at the same time, like, it was also like your free will to choose that. You know what I mean? So clearly, those are paradoxes, but at the same time, like, if the spiritual realm sort of like predestines you for a direction, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, in this weird esoteric sense. Then I would have to say that the majority of that which occurs here in the physical realm would then have to just be an illusion, you know what I mean? Like, because a lot of people describe like God's ability to sort of like see time like a river, you know what I mean? Or like time existing like a river, where every aspect of it from the beginning of the river to the end of the river can be viewed from like, if you like pull yourself above it, and all of a sudden you're in like the fourth dimension or some shit. I don't really know, but it's it's a really strange thing. It's obviously something that I don't really think our minds can comprehend, other than like try, it's not like we can comprehend things in the physical realm, and we can sort of semi comprehend things from like the sort of ethereal realm of sorts, but at the same time it's going to be very confusing to us, I suppose. And obviously just the concepts in and of themselves, and the fact that maybe they don't seem to sort of line up with our physical realm, just means that they're simply that. They're just concepts, but I think that's, yeah, when people talk about like you were destined or fated to be something, it's like implying that there's some sort of spiritual realm of sorts, or some sort of thing beyond yourself, that's controlling your direction of your life. And I don't know, if that's the case, that's a little sad, that, but at the same time, I guess it's kind of good. I mean, I wanted to do nursing, or not that I wanted to do nursing, but I wanted to do art stuff. And I went down the nursing field because it was like more of a secure type scenario, you know what I mean, as far as work goes. But like, I've always just like felt inclined towards like the creative arts, even if it's something as like simplistic as reading stories on YouTube and stuff. It's just something that I was always inclined to do. So I feel like if there's something that you feel really sort of naturally drawn towards, that, and at the end of the day, you should probably continue to head that direction, while at the same time, like, consider a degree of a safety net somewhere, because you don't want to, find yourself in a position where you can't operate within society because you're on the street reading stories. 3D versus 5D. We're playing 5D chess here. Jessa, did I get them? Are you talking about the art? I don't know if you're... I once again, I don't know where you're sending the art. If you're sending it over a DM on Twitter, or if you're talking about... if you're talking about Discord art, you know what I mean? You just have to specify what you mean. What do I do for a living? So this is my main job here, doing YouTube. But before that, I was a registered nurse for quite some time. And technically, still operate with, my license and that sort of renewal process. But at the same time, yeah, YouTube and the podcast is my main focus. Jessa, okay, you sent it in Discord, so I'm not gonna be able to check it right now because I'm streaming. But yeah, I'll definitely check it later. Just at me, do an at Let's Read in that Discord area, just so that it pops up, because I'll forget. Myself and my siblings were schooled at home, partly because Mom had a master's degree in education, so she was more than proficient in making sure we had the proper syllabus, etc. We also moved around a lot when I was a teen, so I guess that probably had something to do with it too. It was a pretty cool time in my life. We all learned a lot whilst having a lot of fun, had a good deal of one-on-one time with our teacher, and lots of time to be alone or outdoors or just whatever we wanted so long as we weren't watching TV. I remember those years quite fondly. But by the time I hit the 10th grade, I was sent to an all-boys private school. It was the sort of place where you had to wear a shirt and tie every day. There was a country club across the highway. It was way out in the suburbs. I'm pretty sure you know the kind of place I'm talking about. But anyway, on my first day of school, I was sent through orientation, which included an audition of sorts with a choir director. The school was very small, you see, and with such a small pool of applicants, the choir director was pretty much free to choose whoever he liked for the boys' choir, a group of about 20 ninth to 12th grade boys who were taught to sing all the super grim Gregorian stuff. As my mother was a church-going woman, I had actually sung in one or two choirs previously, so I had a fair bit of vocal training and range. So it kind of goes without saying, the director of the choir thought I was it. He accepted me into the choir on the spot. I was flattered, but soon realized that I was somewhat unique for some... Whoops. Have I ever reached 1K viewers on live streams? Yeah, I did at one point early on, I think. When I first started live streaming, I got up to like 1.2K at one point, and I think even though people like listen to the channel, I think a large percentage of them would rather not hear like the sort of side ramblings that I have, like. So it's like if they were there initially when it was first sort of a novelty, you know what I mean? Like, oh, he's live. What could he be doing here? You know what I mean? Because I think there's a varying degree of like what people kind of interest people, and obviously some people want to hear the stories. Some people enjoy sort of like the personal aspect, which for me I can't. Like, I'm reading chat, like, and I'm reading my stories. I can't help but like be my personal self to people, you know what I mean, and interact with them, because it keeps me sane too, you know what I mean, whereas other people sometimes can kind of, they might complain in chat and say like, oh, just read the stories, but I mean, this is kind of what you're gonna get, it's me going back and forth, and I can always guarantee you the stories will be edited and done in their normal time, 7 p.m. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Eastern Standard Time, blah 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 blah. But yeah, I think initially like the larger amount of viewers just didn't have that sort of interest. And the way that the way that YouTube does anything is that YouTube is not very liberal when it comes to like their sort of, and when I say liberal, I mean like they're very like sort of open and generous as far as like letting a lot of people know that your videos are out, which kind of blows, you know what I mean? Like I honestly wish like every 600,000 individual was notified that I was live streaming, or like given some sort of indication in their feed, you know what I mean, so that it would increase your probability of having a larger audience either watch your videos or watch your live stream or whatever. But it seems right now that usually sticking around this degree of viewers of about 500 or more is pretty common. Hey, Ron with the 10 says, hello, friend. Just got back from a nice bike ride with my doggo. It's super nice out tonight. I hope you're doing well. Thank you, Ron. How's the puppo doing? Do the dog just kind of like follow along on a leash, or do you go kind of like at a chill speed? I always kind of wanted to go bike riding with a dog, but I feel like mine would just, or back in the day, mine would have just like taken off. I don't do Instagram lives. I don't really know how Instagram really works per se, you know what I mean? But I also saw that Instagram may start to provide advertising revenue to its user base, which is interesting. I'm surprised it didn't already exist like that, because I feel like you see an Instagram ad like all the fucking time, and some of the users on there are massive. So the fact that they like don't make any money off of Instagram is kind of sad, other than like random sponsorships and stuff like that. But That would be dope, you know what I mean, too. But I don't really know. My Instagram's pretty dead. You know, I pretty much just talk about my new videos. Gabby with the 5 says, "Do I have an Instagram?" I do. Yeah, it's everything, you know, social media wise is down below in the description, but my Instagram is at letsread.creepy. Or no, sorry, Jesus. Sorry. At letsread.official. And then my Twitter is at letsreadcreepy. And yeah, Fry is alerting everyone. And my meme page is at horny computer. Oh, Hannah deleted her Insta. You know what? That's okay, Hannah. Honestly, like, social media for me, like, I got onto Instagram because of my you know, my channel. So it's like when I'm on there, it's like I'm doing promotion bullshit or I'm following like meme pages, and that's the only thing I fucking care about. And that's also one of the things I hate about Instagram is like you click on one thing and that's the only thing they show you in your explore page. Even though you're subscribed to all these meme pages, you click on one picture of like girls like aesthetic, you know, makeup bullshit, and then that's all I get in my thing, or like a bunch of videos of dogs, which it's like those are nice things to look at or whatever, but at the same time it's like I want to laugh, you know? All I want to do is fucking laugh at shit and like or just be like amazed, you know? And like for whatever reason, Instagram, the way that they do their explore page kind of frustrates me. I'm sure there's a way to like edit it. Chelsea's got an Instagram, hippie paints, nice. If anybody promotes their Instagram, unfortunately on here, it's just like it's going to like blur it out. So it just the self promo thing doesn't really work. Fashion Nova, yeah, I need to show off some Fashion Nova. But yeah, no, but I totally feel you because like I used to have back since high school. I used to have a Facebook that had like, you know, close to 1,000 friends on it, blah, 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 blah. And you find yourself going on these long tangents where you start like going down the rabbit hole of looking at someone else's like perfect life or someone like a crush that you know, that you failed with or something like that, or, you know, all that kind of bullshit that just like makes you feel bad inside. Or then maybe at one point you're having a weird night, so you just type something dumb up on there and you know, someone else says some shit back to you, and then you take it to heart or whatever, even though it's all just like this fake reality on this stupid, dumb, dopamine releasing website, you know. And like, but then I created my Instagram or whatever, and it's nice to get on there because I kind of feel like I escaped that sense of like social media where like it's not so much about the people anymore as it is like to the content, you know, that the people create, which is to me way better, you know. But then you get on Twitter, and Twitter is just full of like stupid thoughts nonstop, like just constant anger, hashtag cancel, blah blah blah, like just constant drama that I could give two shits about, and like just all this negativity. And but I do relate on the Instagram fact is that there's been people that I've followed where once again you get on that like sort of like Facebook type thing where you go down the rabbit hole of staring at their perfect life or their bullshit, so that I end up following them or unfollowing them, you know. And I didn't realize like when I first created an Instagram, like unfollowing somebody was like a very you know, offensive thing to do. It's like unfriending on Facebook or all that kind of shit, and I had no idea. I thought it was just something that was like, oh, you follow them means because you could still look at their page because they're most of the time public, you know. Yeah, canceled 2020. We've moved on to 2021, baby. So I don't know. Social media takes you down like a really terrible, black hole of despair and negativity, but then also like gives you just enough like dopamine rush because people like your shit, like click like on it, that like it keeps you you know. And the people who, you know, do all the market research for Facebook and stuff, they know this shit. They know they're trying to hone in on the best way to keep you on their website as long as possible, exploiting every little like nuanced piece of like ancient psychology and, you know, ancient geometry, you know, that they possibly have to like keep you on there, staring at more ads, subconsciously trying to sell shit to you. You know, it's all just bullshit, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, the best thing you could do for yourself is look someone face to face and realize that's the most you have in this exact moment, you know what I mean? Walk up to your parent, give them a hug, pet your dog, go on a walk, go look at the fact that when the sun goes down, the sky is orange. Like, that's beautiful shit right there. Fuck Facebook, fuck Instagram. But not fuck Let's Read. Let's Read's the best. No, I'm just kidding. Even though all my stories are like negative as fuck. I was flattered, but soon realized that I was somewhat unique for more. Wait, what is this? I was somewhat unique for more than my. Oh, okay. I was flattered, but soon realized that I was somewhat unique for more than my talent. My voice had yet to drop. I was the only 10th grader in my school who was an alto. Yeah, I know, I was a really late bloomer, but I'm over it now, and so should you be. So as you can imagine, I was more than a bit embarrassed for a boy trying to fit in a new school. Anyway, I soldiered on through the 10th grade until sometime around Christmas break, when the choir was in full swing with the 7,000 Days of Christmas and Deck the Halls, when it was announced that what the fuck? When it was announced that the For the Boy choir play... Sorry, I don't know if some of these words are capitalized, but some of them are not, so I don't know if, like, it's called For the Boy. When it was announced that For the Boy choir play would be putting... I don't know if this is like a bunch of series of fuck-ups, but... Joel Fisting Pooner, what the fuck? Is he vaping? I am not vaping, no. Do I sound like I'm vaping? So, as you can imagine, where the fuck... Okay, when it was announced that For the Boy choir play we would be putting on a play. Sorry, that sounds so fucking weird. I don't know if that's like a spelling error or if that's like the title of... Anybody here in choir? Anybody here in 10th grade choir? When it was announced that the boy choir would be putting on a play, and that play was to be The Wizard of Oz. When it was announced during assembly one day, it barely took a few moments for me to understand where it was going. The entire grade knew the cast before it was announced. 4 months into my first year of real school ever, I was informed I would be playing the role of Dorothy, ruby slippers and all. And despite me refusing at first to play Dorothy, I did. Fuck, that sounded weird. And despite me refusing at first, play Dorothy I did. Ruby slippers, pigtails, ruby slippers, pigtails, necessary alternative implications, and at first... Wait, what the fuck? I keep, messing. Sorry, guys. This is the worst story. This is about someone being, embarrassed. Which is, I guess high school is embarrassing. I just kind of thought that there would be something more scary to it. Ruby slippers, pigtails, necessary alternative lifestyle implications, and third grader dressed as Toto and all. In front of the entire school. You don't know how embarrassment... I don't know, I can't read this one. You don't know embarrassment until you sing Somewhere Over the Rainbow to a crowded auditorium of all male squash players. It was the most terrifying, humiliating event of my entire life so far. I puked beforehand out of pure nervousness, and I puked afterwards out of pure shame. Not long after, I dropped out and continued to be homeschooled until I was able to take the pre-college SATs. I just couldn't carry on at that school. Huh. Well, that is really sad, but I guess it's just more sad than anything. The toxic people in choir. Yeah, that's the weirdest thing is the sort of theater folk. I'm sure they're good people, but god damn, I remember back in the day in theater, I only did it briefly because of a girl who wanted me to do cabaret or some shit, and I always played les sports, And I thought theater was cool. I thought like acting and all that kind of shit was neat, and I thought like, just entertainment was cool. But like as soon as I was like part of it for like a few weeks as like part of their senior project, I just saw like all of the sort of cattiness and like the general immaturity and the sort of like I'm already in Hollywood even though I'm like 16 sort of concepts, and it was just like the most cringy shit ever, you know what I mean? And I'm sure there's obviously a bunch of people in it that are very mature, but then there's just like these sort of commonalities that I noticed that were just so corny to me. I was like, I'm glad I didn't do this for 4 years. I would have turned out a weird person maybe. Or maybe I would have quit. I don't know. Maybe I would have just got annoyed with it and quit. Oh, a simp. Yeah, I was a bit of a simp, I guess. I think we were all simps. We're all simps at one point. Alex, you need to use my bathroom. That's fine. The group at your school is very catty and gossipy. It just seems like weird because it's like it creates this. Every little like subculture, whether it's sports, whether it's theater or whatever it might be, whether it's school itself, like there's always this sense of competition amongst young people. But like young people aren't the most mature individuals, obviously, and it's like this for some reason it's just like hyper amplified within the sort of culture of theater. And I can't even imagine like doing theater like as an adult. Maybe people are more mature about it and just kind of like accept it as their job. I'm doing my job and hopefully everyone's professional and respectable, but I'm sure it creates a lot of strong sense of like eye rolls, you know what I mean? Tool is enabled in the chat. Are we playing some Tool? Am I hungry? I ate a bunch of food before we started the stream, so I am good to go. Facts, we are all simps at one point. This is very true, yeah. I didn't have a proper girlfriend until I was in 11th grade. I had messed around with a few girls at middle school and high school dances and stuff, swapped numbers with a girl at a buddy's birthday party one time, but I'd never had anything serious. Nothing I was really emotionally invested in until then. Then, just after the start of the 11th grade, a girl transferred to our high school from out of state. She was the cutest girl I'd ever laid eyes on in my entire life. She honestly still might be. Her name was Noor. She was born in Malaysia, but moved here to Greater Boston when she was like 5 years old. She had these big, dark brown eyes. So dark they looked almost black, that darted around whatever room she was in, just shyly observing all that passed. Her hair was so thick too, like, I don't know if this is all Asian girls, but there just seemed to be so much more of it growing on her head than other girls. I can still remember how it used to sit on her shoulders, almost impossible to tame, no matter how hard she tried to do so. It had this weird kind of bounce and curl to it too. Like most Chinese, Japanese, or Korean girls tend to have this super straight hair, you guys know what I mean, but Nora's was like wavy almost. God, it was so gorgeous. Her nose was super wide and flat, and she always mentioned how she didn't like it, but I just thought it was cute. But then her lips, my God, they were so plump and pink, like this gorgeous contrast between her golden brown skin and these soft rose-pink peaches. Other guys in our grade used to make fun of her acne, and she did have a lot of scars from it along her cheeks, but I didn't care. I thought they were beautiful. She was imperfect, but still, I think I was smitten with her from the get-go. She was also a super nice girl, too. Humble, smart, funny, the works. So it didn't take her long at all to find a little friend group that she could integrate herself into. And to top it all off, she was on the track team, too. Usually a person is either super athletic or super bookish, but Nora managed to be both all at once. I'll just never ever forget the moment one of her track friends came over to me by the lockers and asked if I was seeing anyone. She was cute, sure, but not exactly my type. All I wanted was Nora, but I had absolutely no idea how to approach her. Then, to my absolute shock, before I could even answer, the girl made it clear it wasn't her that was interested. It was the new girl, the Malaysian girl, the one on the track team with her. She asked if I knew who she was talking about, and I tried to keep my cool, but the look on my face just totally gave it away. The girl just giggled, nodded, and walked away smiling. She was happy, but me, I can't quite describe how I was feeling, although that's not going to stop me from trying. You know that feeling of when you're... This guy's really fucking... This guy's simping hard, yo. My width of 10 says, yeah, I was actually in choir in high school and I just ignore all the drama and BS. Anyways, have a good night, friend. Your stream helped me catch up on my drawing I'm working on, so thank you. Thank you, Maya. Yeah, you have to, if you haven't already, you have to share some of your art in the Discord as well. Unless you have before, I haven't taken a chance to look at them in a while. But thank you, Maya. Yeah, avoid the gossip. Gossip is no fun. It's all just nonsensical. Yeah, this dude's obsessed. Medina says, how many stories are you reading tonight? I can't remember if you did say so. So this is story 3, and there's 7 stories total. What's poppin', DeLorean? A cute simp. You know that feeling of when you... Sorry. You know that feeling of when you super like someone and it's like butterflies? Well, take that feeling and times that by like 1,000. I was so excited I felt sick, like physically sick, and I swear to God, as I tried to put the padlock back on my locker, it took me a good few tries before I managed it, because I was shaking, straight up shaking from the adrenaline. So I won't bore you with all the courtship details, but I ended up being with Nora for a while. It was a dream teenage romance, everything a guy like me could have ever wished for, and for like 18 months of our lives, I think we were both truly happy and truly in love. But as the SATs approached and we each started looking at colleges, I realized I might not get the grades to be able to get my preferred major at Boston U. I mean, Harvard was pretty much out of the question for me, but not to Nor. She was pretty much on track to ace her way into the place on a partial full arts scholarship. Oops. She was pretty much on track to ace her way into the place on a partial to full arts scholarship. Not only that, but I'd kind of had my heart set on going to college down in Florida. There were some dang good schools down there, and that's not even covering the weather. I played a lot of soccer in Florida. It's an excellent place for that, since the weather is superb and there's a sizable Latin community. So, now that you know that, picture the scene. It's just another day of high school, and happy-go-lucky me walks into school one morning, only to be pulled aside by a teacher and told I was wanted in the principal's office. Whatever for, I couldn't possibly imagine, but I knew I hadn't done anything wrong, so I wasn't worried. Even though maybe looking back I really should have been, because the moment I walked in there, the first thing I see is the uniformed police officer standing next to the... Uniformed police officer... there it is, okay. Sorry, I was reading it and I lost it. Alex E with the $2 says, nuts, balls even? That's a good question, Alex. One we've been asking since the dawn of man. Ash Hodge with the 10. This stream has helped me draw little cute creatures. Nice. I want to see little cute creatures. Thank you for the 10, Ash. Appreciate that. Bridget says, I want a personalized sleep hypnosis video from Joel. I need it. Yeah, if you write up a script... Maybe I could put that on Patreon. That would be a cool thing to put on Patreon. I've talked about a while about doing like sexy stories on Patreon and making that like a higher tier thing, and like an extra creepypasta a month or whatever as well. But I just have yet to pull the sexual trigger. White knights are prohibited in the chat. What about green knights or hollow knights? Even though maybe looking back I really should have been, because the moment I walk in there, first thing I see is the uniformed police officer standing just next to the principal's desk. He had his shades on, indoors. Who does that? But even without seeing the guy's eyes, I knew he was staring daggers at me. The principal asked me to take a seat, in the most Chris Hansen type I know you're guilty way ever. So I do. I manage to keep my cool for about 30 seconds while they spew a bunch of vague nonsense about wishing they didn't have to talk to me like this, how it's such a shame, blah blah blah. I snap, telling them I'm pretty much a legal adult and they should just come out and tell me what the problem is. Then the cop says it, something that made my jaw drop. You think you're a man laying hands on a woman like that? So here's the thing. This all came to light in the week after. One of Nora's friends had a conversation with her about college. She told her friend that she had heard... Hey, Terry Tyree! Thank you for becoming a full-grown pizza and a member of the cult. Welcome, Terry. She told her friend that she had heard She had told her friend that she had heard set... What? Sorry. Okay, she told her friend that she had her... Oh, maybe I'll just say eyes. Maybe they forgot the word eyes. She told her friend that she had her eyes set on college and, her heart probably. There, yeah, just spelled the word heart wrong and spelled herd. Herd mentality. She told her friend that she had her heart set on Harvard and she would definitely not be moving down to Florida with me. She then apparently burst into tears and said something along the lines of, Sam is going to be disappointed with me. I'm scared to tell him. The friend then somehow interprets this as a confession that I was hitting her in private, and within about 24 hours, the entire school seemed to think that I was some kind of woman beater. You should have seen the looks I got around school that day. There were guys with full-blown yellow fever that straight up wanted to kill me. I remember walking through the school parking lot towards my car at the end of the day, and as I walked past this one kid's car, he started revving the engine really loud, then let his car lurch forward before throwing on the brakes, as if to say, I could have, but I didn't. We ended up breaking up before moving away, and it was the worst thing ever. The whole battery accusation totally soured. Oh yeah. Thought it said scorned. Hannah's losing her consciousness, fading into Never Neverland. I remember one time I was in second grade and we were playing Hangman, and it was so funny. This kid, I think his name was Daniel, and he was one of those like elementary school kids who always wore like sweatpants, but they weren't the kind of sweatpants that were like baggy. They were the ones that like perfectly contour like up to your crotch, and like I don't even know, like they tuck their socks into him or something like that. He was a nice kid though, and I just remember like he got up in front of everyone and was just, we had these games we would play like as we were learning about like the what's it called, the pilgrims or whatever the fuck. Like we were all part of our own little pilgrimage, and we got points depending on like our team, like as went on, and like at the end of the sort of lesson we would all get some sort of prize or some bullshit from that. But anyways, he went up there and did Hangman, and like nobody could figure out like what the hell it was that he was trying to spell out. And then at the end they're like, okay, what was it? And like because then I think he drew something next to it, like a guy sleeping or something like that, and nobody could figure out what it was. And then he wrote like 8 Z's in a row. And that was the guy sleeping. Then that was his word. It was just zzz. And my teacher was like so pissed because we wasted like 20 minutes of like class just with his stupid like z fucking. Dude, Terry, thank you for the 20, man. Thank you. Holy Krauser. Appreciate that. Love your videos. Keep on doing it. I shall, Terry. Thank you. Yeah, that was. I don't know. I have so many memories from like elementary school of kids just doing stupid shit all the time. It was just funny because like back then, like as a kid, I guess like you kind of like were. Or I felt like I was more of just like an observant kid as opposed to like sort of an outgoing kid. So whenever kids would do really stupid stuff, it just, I mean, that wasn't like the stupidest thing ever, but it was just really funny to like, even as a kid, I could tell how much it pissed the teacher off and how ridiculous it was. And it just made me laugh a lot. You remember, how do I remember stuff from second grade? I barely even remember what I did yesterday. I don't know why, but I remember everything from elementary. I remember everything from the point, pretty much everything from the point I was probably like 3 to 5 is when like most of my memories like really were. I remember one of my earliest memories of my like stepdad was whenever my mom had like a shitty TV, and this was like when I was like 3 or something, or 2 to 3, and they started like officially dating or whatever. And I had like this big like water thermos that I was outside, in the summertime, and then I came in to watch cartoons and set my thermos next to the TV. And all I remember is I thought I just set it next to it to like lean against it, but I guess it like short circuited it, so I must have actually just been dumping straight up water into the TV's circuit board. And then that killed that. And I guess I lied about it at the time because I was afraid. But I just remember like my stepdad and his brother, my uncle, coming over and I thought they were repairmen. I actually had no idea who they were, but I guess he obviously would soon become my dad, which is really funny. But he brought over a TV and replaced that, so that was neat. Great memories. But yeah, I don't know. Elementary school was fun. Middle school was fun. High school was funny. I have all those memories. But it was college. I still have memories of college, but they almost felt like this real. I never really enjoyed college. You know what I mean? Like, because I kind of like, I don't know if the developmental period of myself was already kind of like set in its ways from like my high school friends. Like my social crew had like peaked at that point, and then whenever I went to like sort of a more rural school, I just like didn't get along with those kids the same way, or those people. Though I did have some friends from there. But it almost felt as if though like that set of memories of going to college, because I came home so often because it was only like an hour and a half away. They're like in two separate parts of my brain. Like they're not in like a sequence, as if it's like college happened in like another dimension, kind of, you know what I mean? Remember the clothes hangers to make it work, and you had to stay there so the static wouldn't interrupt it. I know, it was really funny, just like shit that we would do with old rabbit ears and stuff. My heart was completely broken, but that wasn't even really the worst part. Some people in our little North Shore town just didn't seem to believe that I was innocent, and honestly, I don't think I'd have survived the year if I didn't move down to Florida for college. I know that's not your typical ghost, spooky skeleton horror story, but that stuff just isn't scary compared to an accusation like that, and all the fear and loathing that results from it. Yeah, that would suck. It's weird, yeah, just like a he said, she said thing can lead to something really serious. The fifth dimension. Like, isn't it weird that like at some point in our like, we went from presumably making like, first off the discovery of fire, like what the fuck, that's badass, you know what I mean? And then like at some point in the span, I remember hearing just like the progression of technology as humanity goes is so weird to me, because it's like someone said like in the span the short period of time between like the discovery or like the creation of the airplane by the Wright brothers or whoever the fuck came up with it, like how many years it was till like we used that invention to drop an atomic bomb, you know what I mean, on, or two of them, on Japan during World War II. And that to me is just like so baffling, like how we can progress technology to the, I mean, to a large degree, I like sometimes wonder like what kind of like technology and things that we have now that are just sort of like not even available to the public yet, or maybe not for another 50 years before they come, they move on to something else. Bridget Jones with the 5 says, where or how did you find meaning or purpose in your life? Well, this channel definitely gives me a lot of like, well, first off, thank you for the 5. This channel gives me a lot of purpose in my life. As weird as that sounds, it just kind of makes me feel. It makes me feel way different than like my normal life does. I know that sounds stupid, but like when I go to, you know, when people don't know I have a channel, it's like icebreakers are a lot, like making friends is a lot harder. You know what I mean? Like impressing people. Like obviously, I still feel like my personality is like a nice enough one and like a funny enough one that I can like make friends or whatever. But like the YouTube channel has made that infinitely easier, especially like when it comes to like the Discord, going over to Discord and just interacting with people and stuff like that. But for a long time, like I had been going to, like I've talked about this before, like going to church and stuff like that, because you're thinking about life and you think like, oh, you're born and you die, and then you want to know like what happens after and stuff. So like I think digging into like your own interpersonal connections and like spiritual direction is very important, but obviously that's all going to be like hyper personal to who you are. Even like if you're in the same religion as somebody, like you're still going to both have like your own individualistic experiences with that sense of spirituality. So I do find that spirituality and digging into that is like really important for a person's like sort of like, what do they call that, self-actualization, finding their purpose and their direction. Whether that's like really, that can be found in many different ways, like really honing in on your craft and bettering yourself as a person. What is the purpose of meaning? Yeah, that's the whole thing, is that, but I think the sad part is that like, a very scientific view, like a Richard Dawkins type like perspective, will sit there and say like, the whole question itself is rather silly. I mean, why would you even ask a question like that? Truly, the universe owes you no explanation, and it's just like, okay, thanks, fucking mean robot, you know what I mean? Like, why don't you tell me something poetic for once, you piece of poop? But you know what I mean? I think like humans are just sort of inclined towards like life having a very poetic meaning, and there's a lot of people that will sit there and try to like kind of rob you of that, or like they themselves haven't found that poetic meaning, therefore they think their truth is that. But I think truth is very subjective to the individual, at least objectively. But at the same time, I still am sort of inclined towards the notion that there is some sort of like individual truth out there, you know what I mean? And the unfortunate part is that I just don't think statistically, with the 7 billion plus people, or in however many billion have existed before us, like we'll even have the opportunity to ever like discover that. And if we do, how will we even know that that truly is the objective reality? So it's really comes down to like yourself, It really comes down to yourself. And wherever you find that, as long as it doesn't harm other people, I think that is a good thing. And I think some of the things that I've come to find, at least personally for me, besides like the sort of self-actualization in relation to like the spiritual nature of being a human, is there's a lot of experiences you can have in life that can really give you that sense of meaning. I think family is one of that, whether or not you eventually like have your own family or bear children or help other people, assisting other people, creating things, creating art, or investing yourself into your work to kind of see the spoils of your creation, of your hard labor, is very important. I feel like humans were kind of like designed in many ways just to like designed in many ways to just work, you know what I mean? Like we're just kind of designed to just keep trucking along, to keep grinding, to keep working, and we're definitely very kind of pulled in that direction. But I feel at the same time one of the things that gave me some of the deepest satisfaction was writing. I remember whenever I started writing, there was this weird sense of just utter freedom with which I could craft this reality that I was jotting down, and I kind of feel like I should really get back into that, but it's once again, it's just like taking that first step to do so. All knowledge is self-knowledge. That's a funny name. I don't know if I can say that name on stream, but thank you for the two. Says, where are you from? I'm from Pennsylvania, in the northeast of the United States. It's kind of an interesting state. There's pretty much just two cities that are both kind of, they're cities. They're not like I like Philly and I like Pittsburgh because they're kind of like low key cities. You know what I mean? Like they do have interesting shit going on, but I remember one time going to New York City years ago, and there was just a lot of negativity that I felt when I was there, like from the people. And I understand that there's just no time to wait. When you're in New York, you gotta go, bro. We gotta move. But there was just this sort of like sense of superficiality to what I felt there that really kind of clashed with my relatively rural suburban upbringing, where like community tends to, to within your area tends to be the first inclination. And I understand with like numbers like in New York City, like you don't have time to worry about every single person you pass by, and that's, yeah, Brasser, bodybuilding can be a good thing. Like taking care of your health and stuff can be a very good structural apparatus to find meaning in. But at the same time, you don't want to let that sort of vanity take you over, because that can take you down a pretty dark road as well. But yeah, I just remember like when we went to New York, it was like everywhere I walked, everyone was dressed as if they were going to like either like a Navy ball, or like they were getting ready to go to a modeling show, and maybe most of them were. I had no idea, but I just felt like such a bum. Like I actually felt like some of the homeless guys looked better than I did, like the homeless guy was like, "Ooh, I think I should give you some fucking money, Jesus. You need a trim, my dude. You need to get out of them basketball shorts and put on some Gucci, my brother." Bianca with the 15 says, "Nothing too important to say or ask, but your channel has become my absolute favorite to listen to during my free time. Thanks for the awesome content." Thank you, Bianca. I'm glad I could be that. I appreciate the 15. That's very generous. Why did I stop posting my ASMR channel? I just didn't have time. Once I switched from like the 4 videos that are shorter, which were essentially 2 videos split in 2, creating 4, I did 3 longer videos, and that just took up too much of my time. So if you can imagine, with a previous schedule, I was like putting out 2 videos, and I always had like an extra day where I almost like felt yancy and felt like I had to do something. So I would do ASMR videos just to like test the waters. And then once I saw that my channel was kind of hurting by doing shorter videos, I switched back to the longer ones. You had a homeless guy give you a pizza when you were in NYC? Nice. Service. Yeah, no, service does equal meaning. And I think that's been, like, whenever I would do, like, church and stuff like that, I think that was one of my biggest frustrations with a lot of churches, is that, Joel with the quick maths, 2 plus 2 equals 4. Boom, boom, boom. But, like, one of the biggest frustrations I had with, like, going to church was, like, it was so focused on like the lecture parts and the studying parts that it was like, imagine you're going to school 24, like for the rest of your life, you go to school, but you never get to apply that to any sort of reality, which I think is part of a large frustration about, kids, younger kids through, ages 0 through, senior year or whatever, 12th grade, year 12 or whatever, and then into college, is that like a lot of schooling sometimes feels purposeless, because you don't really have an applicable manner in which you can, present it. Hey, Jack, how are you, man? But so and that was the way with church. It just felt like it was a constant lecture about how you're naughty and bad, but then you never get to actually go serve people, which, based on like essentially examining the stories that played out in most of those stories, it was always like an adventure. Like people, obviously there was some crazy shit as well, but like a lot of it just seemed like people living life and, just experiencing things. And a lot of times I feel like church just doesn't have enough experiential sort of avenues in it, you know what I mean? Do I fish much? No, I'd like to fish more often. Growing up, I honestly just was not much of like an outdoors person. I think when I was younger, I was kind of like apprehensive towards it, I guess, because it was dirty outside, blah, blah, blah. It was hard, I couldn't just sit and drink soda and play video games, so I was a very lazy kid, and I wish that, in many ways, I kind of wish that I wasn't as turned off to that, you know what I mean, because I really do think that fishing and getting outdoors and just experiencing the relaxing aspects of nature is pretty cool. Shucks with the 5 Canadian maple syrup dollars says, how do you feel about turning 30? A lot of people have anxiety about that, and life really hits you at that age. I was saying it earlier. I do have some anxieties turning 30 just because of the sort of connotation that comes with that number. I told my dad that I was turning 30, and he's like, 30? What? Because he's still like, he'll swear in front of me for whatever reason, and what I mean, like, is that he'll like cover his mouth like, ooh, like as if though he shouldn't swear around me and stuff, and it's really funny, and I guess if I was a girl, I would say it's really cute, but like, it's just, he still observes me as like being this like teenage kid, or some shit like that, but then when I told him I was 30, it was just like 30, because I'm sure in his mind he's comparing himself where he was when he was 30, raising a family in his 20s, and pretty much just all of the things that were accomplished by that point. And I don't know, like I said earlier, like being 30, it's just another year, you know what I mean? Like you just keep moving towards whatever goals you have set at that point. And daddy's little baby boy, my baby boy. Joel's virginal ears, I know. Once he said fuck, I just started bleeding out of the nose, eyes, and orifices. Jessa, you're 34 Saturday, am I a cougar? Oh yeah. We stand cougars. No, I'm just kidding. How old is Joel? I'll be 30 next Thursday, so 7 days, and you can come to my 30th birthday party here on stream. And I'm really hoping I don't get drunk and say some really stupid shit. Hopefully, maybe I'll have to be on like a Discord call so people can listen to it and chime in if I start to get too wild and be like, all right, Joel. Joel's gonna have to like take a step back for a second. Accomplished a lot in 30 years. Thanks. Yeah, I don't know. I do have my parent a lot to thank my parents for, because my dad kept and my mom, they kept me in line. They so many times just like really inclined to give up, you know what I mean? And with parents, they're kind of just this like authoritative figure that like they can be your friend, you know what I mean? But like they aren't always inclined to be your friend, and I think that's like a really good thing, you know what I mean? Get canceled on my B-Day. We should just get the hashtag going already. Cancel Let's Read. Pre-cancellation Let's Read. You're going to have some heavier questions for the B-Day stream. Yeah, I'd be worried I probably will get like no... Because I think I'm going to record as well, No, I'm not... I'm... All right, I'm not even going to like get into it, but I'm going to control myself, I think. I think it's actually going to go really well. I'm going to be drinking... what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a shot of whatever it is once we hit the increments for whatever, and then I will take a shot of the peanut butter whiskey, then I'll take a shot of pickle juice, and then I'll take a shot of water. And if I keep up with that, I think I won't die, and I should be okay. You had a healthy fear of your parents? I think you should. I definitely think people should. Only fun questions. Pre-cancel. Get our pre-cancellation going. When I look back at my high school years, I always seem to remember one thing more than anything else. It's not the classes or the football or the fact that I had to transfer a lot because of my parents' jobs or the terrible cafeteria food. It's meeting a girl. Like I said, I was and am an army brat, and thanks to my dad having to move around the country a bunch, I had to chronically transfer between high schools, sometimes a year at a time. According to the therapist I visit these days, this was pretty bad for me, but I digress. Because it was during my senior year at high school out in Oregon that I met... Oh. Sorry, that sounded weird. Because it was during my senior year at high school out in Oregon that I met... Oh, it was because... Okay. It was because of my senior year at high school and out... I don't know why this sentence makes no fucking sense. Because it was during my senior year at high school out in Oregon, that's when I met Sophie. She was shy, reserved, to the point that some people just straight up called her old and Ice Queen. But she was so much more than that. She wrapped up her idealism in stone, and the way the world is these days, I don't blame her. We had a lot in common. I mean, an incredible amount in common, despite the fact that we lived on opposite sides of the country for almost most of our lives. But we were different too. Different in all the right ways, if you ask me, like complementary, if that makes sense. I was super passionate about things. She was not. She was dead inside, as she put it at one point, and I was convinced that I would breathe life into her. But I didn't care what she said. She was honestly the most incredible young woman I'd ever met in my life, and part of me thinks she still is, even like 20 years later. But it wasn't smooth sailing, not at all. You see, because I transferred to her school for senior year, I didn't really have any idea of what had gone on at that school previously. Blissful ignorance, I'd call it. Ignorance that was quickly shattered. About a month into seeing her regularly, she started to withdraw, started to kind of push me away. I confronted her about it, and the truth came out. At the time we met, she was fresh out of a long-term relationship with a guy of a few years older than us. I mean, like maybe only a fortnight fresh out of it, and obviously it was still super raw for her. She was hurting, and I totally understood why. But God, she was amazing, and I made it perfectly clear that I wasn't about to give up on her like that. This other dude had basically promised her the good life, marriage, kids, the works. Apparently he was a college grad with some lucrative new job in the burgeoning tech industry down in California. He made sick figures. He made some sick figures. He made figurines. Your video has an error again. Pray for me. Oh, man. Rachel! Thank you for becoming a full-grown pizza and a member of the cult. Original Asherella with the 2 says, "You missed my donation, bruh. Hurts my heart." What the hell? Where did I miss that? Let's see. I'm sorry, Asherella. Oh, it was up there. With the $3 says, "The world is a vampire." It's very true. Santa Drain. That's all. Good night. I'm sorry, Ash. I apologize. I don't know how I missed it. Yeah, I guess it was right after Bridget asked me a more deeper question, and I totally got pulled into that there. Sorry. Sorry, chap. I'm gonna unhurt your heart. Unhurt my heart. When I'm calling for you. Unhurt my heart. I will have to place it back together. It will be stronger, faster, more hardy. Joel is bigger than Chills, and his arms are huge. Is Chills jacked? In some of his videos, he looks like he's a pretty thick boy. You know, his muscles go and all that kind of stuff. And he's definitely probably a better rapist than me. Boom, chicka boom, chicka boom, chicka boom. Yo, it's me. Let's read. And I'm here to get my mead. Drink it down. You like the sound? Now I'm about to send out my hound. Roof, 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 roof. See? Look out, Chili's. I'm coming. Coming for ya. Read music lyrics in your Let's Read voice. I like big butts, and I cannot lie. All my other brothers can't deny. When a girl walks in with an itty-bitty waist and rounds it in your face, I get sprung. I get sprung. I get sprung. I get sprung. Spring has sprung, and so have I. Rachel with the 10 Aussie bucks says, "Thanks, Jules. I've been listening to you for 5 years." Oh, wow. That's a long time. Thank you, Rachel, for sticking with me. Sticking with me. We're going to make a full live, but only singing. Oh, God. I'm spitting fire, simp. This is simp fire. That would be a good, I'm going to name myself Simp Pansy. I think there's already an Instagram channel called that, the Simp Pansy, or at least there's a meme out there. But I think that would be a sweet ass rap name. But at the same time, it's kind of hard to say Simp Pansy. Well, if you say it quick, you want something that kind of like flows, you know. Young Thug and Jay-Z and Pickle Rick, and Simpanzee just feels kind of strange. He made 6 figures. He was handsome, tall, pretty much everything I was not. But right when it came down to her dropping out of school to start her life with him down in Frisco, what the fuck? San Francisco? Is that what they call that shit? Frisco. Does anybody call it Frisco? That's funny. You love listening to me on road trips. Well, I might have some road trip stories here in the not too distant future. But right when it came to her dropping out of school to start her life with him down in San Francisco, he told her he met someone else. Can you believe that? Talking her up like that, only to let her down. I don't think anyone can blame her for feeling or acting the way she did. She told me she needed space, which I was only too happy to give her. I was heartbroken, just like she was, and all of a sudden we had something else in common too. Oh my god, my cat is like banging on my door. 1 second. Un momento. Pradeep just like he just like does like ding dong ditch all the time. It's so annoying. Hey, green turtles, what's up? Like he'll just bang his body against the door, then as soon as he hears me walking, I just hear him like sprint off. I'm fortunate that he hasn't completely TP'd my door. Oh, you could hear him headbutting the door. Dude, he does. I mean, I wish I got a video to see how, like, incredibly violent he gets against that door. I don't know why he just wants in so bad. And it's so funny because he gets in and he just, like, flops over and he's like, I'm cute. Didn't you forget that I was cute? I don't know if you knew this or not, but I'm a cute little boy. He's like, too much of a cat. Too cat-like. I was heartbroken, just like she was, and all of a sudden we had something else in common too. I pretty much begged her to give me another chance one night. I sneakily stole the key to my dad's liquor cabinet, drank a few glasses of vermouth. Is it vermouth? Vermin smack.
Vermouth.
I sneakily stole the key to my dad's liquor cabinet, and drank a few glasses of vermouth. Yeah, I know, I knew nothing about alcohol. The smell that stuff gives off makes me ill even today. Enough to get me emotionally lubricated, then ended up pretty much begging her to give me a chance. She agreed too, but on one condition, that I gave her some space for like a week or two, and that we wouldn't be exclusive for a while. How long, she didn't know, but she was freshly out of some sort of nightmare breakup and was just not ready to jump right back into the pool. So while all this was going on, unbeknownst to me, there was a silent observer, sorry. Dogs all the way. Yeah, you know, dogs are good. My cat's really good because I treat him like a dog, so he just lets me do whatever I want, you know, so I can pick him up and just throw him on his back and pet him, and he never gets mad or anything, and he actually, as you can hear him banging his head, he like craves attention. But it's like dogs require a lot more, you know. Cats can just like shit in the box and, you know, for the most part kind of maybe all they do is just like scratch your couch up or some shit. But I do hope to, like, at some point, if I get a house or maybe meet somebody or whatever, I can get like a Doge. A Doge would be quite nice because I grew up with them. When did I reach 600k? I don't know. It was a while ago. Excuse me. Marcus, YouTube failed you. Yeah, I don't know what YouTube's like, how it prioritizes who they tell about live streams. Like, I don't know if you gotta click the notification bell or what, but if you guys haven't already, definitely click that bell just to like help what they call view velocity when a video first comes out and stuff. It really does help kind of like tell YouTube that should send this video out to more people. So while all this was going on, unbeknownst to me, there was a silent observer. So right in the middle of me feeling terrible over what was going on with Sophie, a 10th grade girl I'd seen around school approached me when I was walking to my car one afternoon. Her name was Josie, and she excused herself before telling me she was really sorry about what was going on with me and Sophie, how she totally sympathized with the situation, and that she hoped she could help take my mind off of it. It was so dumb of me, but I asked her out, like there and then. I think I just wanted to show Sophie that I was entirely capable. Of finding another girl, like I was demonstrating my value or something. It might sound egotistical or selfish or whatever, but I think some of you might agree that I was definitely not thinking straight at the time. But do you ever think straight during high school? The entire thing is just a mess of hormones and emotions and pressure and stress. It's amazing any of us make it out of there intact. I ended up going on a couple of dates with Josie, and Sophie was well aware of what I was doing. I could tell she wasn't impressed. That she was even less impressed that it was a 10th grader, but what else was I supposed to do? Just lie in my bedroom feeling sorry for myself? I had to do something, and hearing Josie say those words, "I can help you take your mind off of it," oh my god, you have no idea how comforting that felt. That was exactly what I needed to hear. So, we dated. I'm not sure if Sophie also dated either. I saw her walking around town with a guy at one point, but she'd been pretty open about her having a lot of guy friends, so I wouldn't have been surprised if it was just one of them. But the time I spent with Josie Man, there's a lot of word squip-ups. But with the time that I spent with Josie, it was nice. Really nice. She wasn't as mature as Sophie, she wasn't as self-assured, but I liked her a lot, and she really did help me take my mind off of my heartbreak. Yet, she just wasn't Sophie, and no matter how lovely she tried to be, no matter how much she said what I wanted to hear, she wasn't the girl that I had fallen in love with. It sounds too cruel to say, but Josie just couldn't hold a candle to Sophie. It was little things, like how she couldn't stand horror movies, something that is still a huge part of my life, how she was super into Disney and stuff when, oh my god, I can't think of anything worse than having to sit through another viewing of Cinderella. God, I hate that saccharine, whitewash crap. Jeez, this guy doesn't like... Do I like crows? Like the animal? I mean, there's a lot of them around here that, to the point where they kind of become disruptive to the area. But I do find that crows are pretty intelligent creatures. I remember hearing that, like, certain football stadiums were trying to train crows to, like, pick up trash and put it into the certain bins, and then it would reward them with snacks or whatever. So I do think crows are pretty cool, but they're a little bit ominous, I suppose. Saccharine. God, I hate that saccharine whitewashed nonsense. Things kind of came to a head when Josie asked me to be her boyfriend. I had to be brave, bite the bullet, and tell her that I didn't want that I was still super hung up on Sophie, that I don't think I could commit myself to another girl. And the worst thing was that Josie appeared to understand. She was upset, sure, but she seemed willing to wait for me. It was only then that I realized what I was doing to her. Exactly what Sophie was doing to me. One heck of a love triangle, right? Or if you include Sophie's dumb Beamer-driving rich guy ex, More like a love square, but anyway. One night as I'm sitting on my bedroom, chilling and playing... Sitting on my bedroom, okay. One night as I'm sitting up in my bedroom, chilling and playing PlayStation, my mom comes into my room with me, saying there's a girl on the phone. I assume it's Josie, since she was the one calling me most nights just to talk or whatever. So, me being an absolute idiot, answer the phone like, "Hey Jojo, what's up?" Silence. Who's Jojo? It was Sophie. And I know you might expect her to have sounded like annoyed or something. She wasn't. She sounded scared. Oh, fuck, now I gotta go sound scared. Who was Jojo? It was Sophie. And I know you might expect her to have sounded like annoyed or something. She wasn't. She almost sounded scared. I told her not to worry about that. A weak response, I know, but I just wanted to change the subject and find out why she was calling. But more importantly, why she sounded so afraid. I can't remember exactly how the conversation went. It's been years, but it went a little something like this. "Did you leave something on my windowsill?" No, why? Are you sure?" "Yes, I'm sure. I'd say so if I did." "You swear to God you didn't leave anything on my windowsill tonight? You haven't been around here at all?" "Yes, Sophie. Why would I lie about that? You told me to give you your space, and I have." "Tell me what's going on." "Well, someone did." Her voice was all shaky, like she was on the verge of tears. "What are you talking about? What did they leave?" "A heart. A freaking pig's heart, or a cow's heart, or something. I don't know. But it was all bloody and gross, and there were flies all over the thing, and oh my God, I was so effing scared right now." I asked her if she wanted me to come over, but she said no. She just needed me to swear that it wasn't me that did it. So I did. I swore over and over that I would never, ever do something like that. That it was the kind of thing an absolute psycho would do, and how that just wasn't me. I told her I loved her, how all I wanted was for her to be happy. If that was with me, cool. If not, also cool. But I was not about to get all Hannibal Lecter on her, no matter how much it hurt that we couldn't be together. She calmed down a little after that, but only a little. I told her if anything like that happened again, that she should just call the cops, or that it might be an idea to do that already. Then, an idea struck me. There were a lot of guys in our school who were into Sophie, and for obvious reasons. She was smart, hot, adorable, cute, and super approachable, despite how introverted people thought she was. If it was one of those idiots, if one of them had dared scare the love of my life at that point, God, they would pay. But the next day I was hanging out with Josie after school, when I happened to bring it up in conversation. I told her the whole thing, every little detail, and naturally she was grossed out. Who would do something like that? Oh God, what a psycho. That poor girl. Stuff like that. I was really worried, but like she'd done before, Josie helped me feel better about the whole thing. How whatever criminally insane monster that had left butchered meat on a girl's windowsill was obviously too cowardly to actually confront her or do anything too violent. And like I said, Josie had this way of making me feel so much better about stuff. It's just a shame it didn't last long, and I never expected things to turn out the way that they did. Because a few nights later, I got a call from Sophie again. I happened to have the cordless in my room, something my mom and dad used to get super angry about because it drained the battery, blah blah, but I was a dumb teenager. And as soon as I picked up, expecting the call to be from one of my parents, I heard panicked breathing on the other end. Panic breathing on the other end. Sorry, I'm like trying to read chat, but it sounds like you guys are into something deep. Have I ever met a skinwalker? I don't think so. Maybe I'm a skinwalker. Jessa wants to fight me. Jensen, what's up, big boy? Big boy? Are you going to be streaming tonight, Mr. Man? Even though it's kind of late as fuck. As soon as I picked up, expecting the call to be for one of my parents, I heard panicked breathing on the other end. Jake, it's Soph. There's someone outside my house. Who? I don't know, but they're just staring up at my window. They wave too in this creepy way, and I'm so freaking scared right now. She sounded on the verge of tears. I'd never heard her so frightened before. I'd never heard anyone so frightened before. What? Are your parents home? No, they're just out of town for the weekend. I'm just so scared right now. Please come over. Did you call the cops? No, I mean, I will. I'm panicking right now. Do it. Call the cops. Then call me back. Let me know what the sitch is. A few minutes go by and the call comes back. She did call the cops, but they told her since no crime was being committed, they couldn't really do anything. They promised that they'd send a patrol car by, which they did, but the person stalking Sophie had just hidden when they saw the cruiser and then simply returned when they were gone. That's when I told her to lie, to just call back and tell her the person had a gun, a knife, a bat, anything to get those lazy idiots just to act. She said okay, that she'd call back when she was done. I hung up. 1 minute went by, 2 minutes, then 3. I was shaking, straight up shaking by the time I grabbed the phone and called her. I had to know what was going on, but now the line seemed to be dead. Not the kind of engaged dial tone that tells you there's a call on already or one that directs you immediately to answer the machine. The line was straight up dead, like someone had cut the line. I threw on my sneakers so hard it actually caused an abrasion that I didn't even realize was there until the whole thing was over. Some big, nasty, swollen graze thing. I ran out of my parents' house. Check that, bolted out of my parents' house without even shutting the door. I almost fell over myself as I heard my mom screaming at me like, "What are you doing, Jake? Where are you going?" I didn't answer. I didn't have the breath. I ran and ran and ran the entire way to Sophie's place, just over a mile. I think I might have ran a 5-minute mile, I'm not even kidding. I was fighting back the urge to puke by the time I got there and saw who she was talking about. A figure in a black hoodie, standing outside her window. Only how Soph didn't see the actual effing knife they were carrying, I don't know. Or maybe I do. It was one of those combat knives with a black alloy coating. You probably know what I mean. I just slammed into them, trying to focus on holding the knife-carrying arm to the ground while I screamed at the top of my lungs for help. It was a struggle, a real struggle, but I remember the person being considerably weaker than me, smaller than me, almost dainty. I had them on their back, one hand on their arm, keeping it locked down, the other kind of like mushing their face. I don't really know what I was doing. I've never been a fighter, but when I took my hands away from their face and onto their neck to choke them, I saw who it was. It was Josie. It had been Josie the whole time. Josie had left the animals' hearts. Josie, who had been apparently making hoax calls to her house. Josie, who had gone around to scare the living life out of her. The living life, Jesus Christ. Bridget Jones with the 20 says, "Thanks for the entertaining questions tonight, Joel. Entertaining my questions tonight, Joel. It's always a pleasure. Get some sleep. Please do consider special Patreon vids." Ooh. I honestly think I may here. Yeah. Honestly, if you wrote up a script, I definitely would read it. If you wrote that to me and alerted me that you emailed it, I would for sure do that. Number 15. $30,000 affirmations. But thank you, Bridget. Appreciate it. I really do appreciate your generosity and hanging out and giving me some interesting stuff. Food for thought. Josie, who had gone around to scare the life out of her with that black knife. All the commotion attracted the neighbors' attention, and the cries of "help, they got a knife" apparently got the cops there much, much faster and in larger numbers, too. Josie was arrested for carrying a bladed weapon with intent to endanger life, and the fallout of the whole thing was a drama that went on for months, finally ending when Josie's family moved her out of state to live with her grandparents. She wasn't a well person, and apparently hadn't been for quite some time, even though she was outwardly presented this cute little high school girl vibe. It was all a front. She was straight up manipulative and evil, and I know that now. I'm sorry this was such a long ramble. I wish I could give you a happy ending here and tell you that me and Sophie ended up back together and living. Jesus Christ. Yeah, fucking animal heart, my god. I'm sorry this was such a long ramble. I wish I could give you a happy ending here and tell you that me and Sophie ended up getting back together and living happily ever after, but we didn't. Life isn't a Disney film. Half the reason I hate those things. The other half is living up here in Washington somewhere, but where exactly I couldn't care less. I hope I never see her ever again. I know Let's Reach channel gets a ton of views, and I know there's very little chance that Sophie is ever going to read or hear this, if it even gets narrated at all, but if she is, on the off chance that she's out there listening to this and as she... Okay, so this is getting a little meta here. What the fuck? I might read this, but might go back and just end it at the one part, but we'll see what it says. I know Let's Read's channel gets a ton of views, and I know there's very little chance that Sophie is ever going to read or hear this, if it even gets narrated at all, but if she is, on the off chance that she's out there listening to this as she falls asleep or while she's doing homework in the family home she so richly deserves, please know that I think about you often, maybe a little too much for a high school sweetheart. I think about the wonderful girl you were, and I wonder about the incredible woman you've grown into. I'm so sorry that my actions put you in danger like that. I know I can't blame myself for something some psycho did when we were still in high school, but I still do. I can't help but blame myself. We never really got a chance to say goodbye. I know you moved not long after, and I get why. But with all my heart, I sincerely hope you have a wonderful life, and please know that I will never, ever forget you. I love you, Sophie. I always have, and I think I always will. Jeez, what a simp. Everything's simp now. Can't say anything nice without being simp. But yeah, Sophie, come on. Even though we put you in this position, like, give it up, babe. Give it up. Chimpanzee. Yeah, don't include the ending. It's weird. Yeah, what do you guys think? Ending or no ending? We'll do a chat vote. Simp Nation. Yeah, or simp or no simp? Simp level 1. Simp gang, baby. Gang. Simple plans. A simple mistake on my part. Yeah, he humble bragged his 5-minute mile to impress. Yeah, that was weird. Like, it's like you couldn't tell like who had the problems, the Sophie chick or him, you know? No ending. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Shit. I said yeah as I pressed record. I'm sorry this was such a long ramble. I wish I could give you a happy ending here and tell you that me and Sophie ended up getting back together and living happily ever after. Fuck. Oh, I'm so oily, greasy, tired. I wish I could give you a happy ending here and tell you that me and Sophie ended up back together and living happily ever after, but we didn't. Life isn't a Disney film. Half the reason I hate those things. The other half is living up in Washington somewhere, but where exactly I couldn't care less. I just hope I never see her ever... I just hope I never see her ever again. Wait, what? Is it the Josie chick, or he doesn't want to see? Simp endings are prohibited in the chat. Hey, Zaftig, you're welcome. Hope you're having a good night at work. Make some eggs. Eggs sound pretty good. Make some simp pull carbs. From one stalker to another, yeah. I mean, he like, I don't know, he was like going on about that girl in the beginning and then going on and on about her at the end. Holy chimps. Sophie, my love. Oh, Sophie.
Hey, listen.
Hi, everyone. My name is Kat. You know what? I think did I miss a... Oh, no. Okay. My temperature is rising. Thank you for the 2. My temperature is rising. She's so hot. Or no, not hot. That's rude. She's so beautiful. I want to bang her. No. That's not nice to say. I want to fall in love with her. Give her the most beautiful, beautiful life we could possibly have together. I swear I'm not a simp. I don't know. I feel like what is even the definition of a simp anymore? I don't quite know. Simping ain't easy. I feel like simps almost come off as like there's definitely like a mental like a definitive lack of confidence, excessive like obsession, you know, for sure. One whole foot. Yeah, this is me normal voice here. Thanks for joining me. Keep those likes coming, Buttersuck Cult. Oh yeah. Oh. Zaftig Betty with the 10 says, you're my fave. Sending love from Tejas. Tejas. It's probably so hot down there. If it's hot here, it's probably freaking boiling there. Hope you guys have some pretty cool thunderstorms rolling through. But thank you. Yeah, a beta male. Yeah, I guess so. It's pretty much... Simp is just another word for beta, but it's like more meme-worthy. Thank you, individual from a Diary of a Mad... Simpsons. You would think like YouTube... you'd think YouTube would like... censor like usernames, but I guess I don't. I mean, I don't really care. It's just funny. It is hot in PA. It's like well, it's just like humid because it's like it rains here in my area most of the time, which kind of blows. Not a lot of vitamin D to go around. Let's see, weather. The weather currently. The current weather, well, it's only 68, which is actually probably cold to some people, but it's just, I think in my room. Oh, okay, Texas, 69 degrees. Nice. It's almost 69 degrees here, so I guess we're kind of comparable. A gamma male. Yeah, we got alpha males, beta males, but we're the gamma males, the theta males. We really need to like diversify the type of males we have. Canadia's a little chilly. Yeah. It's all over the place, it seems. Hot and squishy. Squishy. There's a simp storm brewing. She's so lovely. I love her. Oh, Jessa, nice. I thought about audiobooks. Yeah, I've talked about them before. I've definitely thought about it, but I just don't have time, and the YouTube channel has just become my like main gig, you know. So otherwise, I feel like I would just be recording like non-stop, you know. Oh yeah, the Omega male. Omega male, the first male ever, was a simp. Chungus, big Chungus males. 104 in San Francisco. Goodness gracious. Hi everyone. My name is Khalid and I'm from the UK. I lived here all my life, but my parents are from Pakistan, so as you can imagine, I grew up Muslim. I started secondary school, what we call high school here, only it goes for like 5 years and not 4, in 1999. And despite being one of my... Sorry. Cheyenne Dory Bob with the 5 says, remember kids to never butter others' socks without consent. That's very true. You can do it to yourself all night, but as soon as you start to enter into somebody else's sock with your butter, that's where it gets a little iffy. And despite being one of the only Desi kids in the entire catchment area, I never had a problem fitting in. The thing was, I was always massively into football, and if I do say myself, I was pretty good at it. One PE teacher said I was a natural left winger, and basically, if you were good at footy and could set up and score goals.
Hey, listen.
I don't know why I'm struggling as that's so fucking hot. Leslie with the 10 buckaroonies. Thank you, Leslie. When you don't someone to you don't have someone to simp over. That's alright. There's plenty of people on Instagram you can simp on. Have a simp of this right here. Simp with it. Yo, he's simp with it. Hey, listen. The thing was, I was always massively into football, and if I do say myself, I was pretty good at it. One PE teacher said I was a natural left winger, and basically if you were good at footy and could set up and score goals, no one gave a monkey's butt about that color you were. And if you were good at footy and could set up and score goals, no one cared about what color you were or who you prayed to. And life was good. I had loads of mates and I cracked on with schoolwork. But that all changed one Tuesday afternoon in 2001 when I got home from school to find my mom and dad sat on the living room couch, staring at something on the TV with their jaws pretty much on the floor. The pictures showed some big tall building somewhere, smoke pouring out of one side. I thought it was a fire and, well, it technically wasn't. I don't know why I can't, like, comprehend this person's writing for some reason. Like, it's totally fine, but I just, like, can't. I can't follow it. I thought it was fire, and, well, it technically was, wasn't it? But I only really realized what was going on when I saw the second plane slam into the other tower. I actually gasped. My dad rose up from the couch, and with a look in his eyes that I hadn't seen before or since, he shouted at me to go upstairs and get on with my homework. But I didn't. I turned on the little box TV that they'd brought me to play on my PS2 and tried to soak up as much info as I could. The next day in school was one of the worst days of my life. I don't know if any of you can relate, but I can't even really describe what it was like to have people I'd known for years, people I'd have called friends, looking at me like they didn't want to be within 6 feet of me. I even caught a bloody teacher giving me a funny look at one point. A teacher. People asked me why those idiots had done what they'd done, and I didn't have an answer for them. I barely knew my own religion at that point, and it was just kind of something I just did, not something I really thought about. I've had friends since that. I've had friends since that agreed, like, they went to church on Sunday because their parents told them to, because it was like tradition, not because I was like, oh yeah, I'm Muslim and I want to be here. It was super boring, listening to some old bearded fella droning on in a language I didn't really understand. My mom and dad did speak a bit of Urdu around the house, but they brought me up to be English as the next kid. Point being, and I know I might sound silly, but people thought that, like, we were all in on it or something, like it was a big conspiracy that all Muslims were, like, celebrating or whatever, which was absolutely bollocks. But try telling some of them that. So this all went on for about a week or so, and the bullying got progressively worse. It wasn't everyone. I want to make that perfectly clear. My core group of mates never deserted me, but like I said, things got worse and worse as the weeks went on. I think the worst thing is that, from things that I've learned since, that a lot of kids felt empowered to give me a hard time based on what their parents were saying at home. They didn't think it was wrong, like collectively punishing Muslims for something a bunch of backward, cave-dwelling wankers thought God was telling them to do. Yeah, there's some weird stuff in that book, but there's weird stuff in every religious book. You just focus on the good stuff about loving people and being a good person, and not how you can be ripped apart by a bear if you make fun of bald people, which is in the Bible. Go look it up. Come out, ye bald head. Just Google that phrase. But anyway, I'm sorry to ramble, but one day I finished school a little bit later than usual. We all finished at the same time. I had to return some library books I'd rented from the school library that had helped me write an English essay. School is pretty quiet. The halls are emptying out. But when I walk down the steps towards the front gates, I see like a big crowd of kids standing just outside, all congregating near the big iron gates. Mobs of people aren't unusual to see around schools at home time, I know, so I don't really think anything of it while I'm filing out and walking past them. There were kids in uniform, our uniform, but also kids with uniforms from other schools in the area, as well as kids in their own clothes. I walk past them, but as soon as I do, I just feel everyone's eyes on me. It was one of the eeriest feelings I'd ever felt in my life. No one likes being the subject of such attention like that. Well, maybe some do, but not me. I sort of look back and see all those moody faces just bearing down on me, and in that instant, my heart rate went through the roof. They were really obviously not out to be friendly at all. Quite the opposite, fuck. Lily Malone, welcome. You like stuffing cats in your shirt? That's cool. How many did you put in there? They were really obviously not out to be friendly at all. Quite the opposite, in fact. My adrenaline was pumping as I started to hear them whisper among themselves. There he is. That's him. That's the Muslim right there. Hit him. Go on. Do it. I didn't even wait to try and talk my way out of it. I just ran. Not ran. Legged it. Sprinted. Absolutely bloody well bolted across the road, almost getting hit by a car in the process. The car beeps dead loud. The driver shouts something, and I think the noise then sends the mob into an absolute frenzy. They're shouting and screaming at me as I sprint full pelt in the direction of my neighbors. I've been walking home for years, always the same route, so I knew it really well. And thanks to playing footy 3 times a day, I was fast as anything. Big shout out to my old roommate David Oakes for chasing me up and down the left wing for years. Without, I think I'd have had my teeth kicked out there and then. But that didn't mean I didn't come close. There was one point where this big lad, who was red in the face from Adam, hi, my name is Barbara, and me and my boyfriend Adam are having a bonfire. Do you have any scary bonfire stories? I guess these stories will have to go along with it, but I'm just recording stories for tomorrow, which are going to be high school related stories. So these are all high school oriented scary stories, so hopefully they go well with your bonfire. James Bonfire. But that didn't mean I didn't come close. There was one point where this big lad, who was red in the face with rage, actually managed to grab hold of my backpack before I shook him off and darted down an alley. With me being small, I slipped through the metal bollards easily, while he had to probably turn side on to get through them. That gave me just enough of a lead to get away from them, and I think I just lost them quickly after that as I ran over a railway bridge and down another alleyway. I'm not gonna lie, I cried my eyes out when I got home to my mom. It was without a doubt the most scary thing that's ever happened to me. I was 13, for God's sakes, still basically a baby, and I was being made a bloody scapegoat for something that happened 1,000 miles away, and I can't tell you how horrific that was. My family actually ended up moving cities not long after to live in an actual Muslim community where abuse like the stuff I'd experienced became a thing of the past. But that's not solving the problem, is it? Retreating to a little cluster was the opposite of what our country needed, when people more than ever needed to see that we can be just as British, American, or whatever nationality as anyone else. They call it footy in Australia. You guys playing footy? Oh yeah, the wrench emoji just means you're a mod, but it's a blue one. Oh, how the turntables. You're the man. Thank you, Sir Assington. Now that I've seen how many times you have to restart your story, I appreciate your narrations even more. Thank you. Yeah, it does take quite a few efforts, but eventually get through it. Hit the like button if you love Joel. Matthew Grawl, what's good, dude? So we got 2 more stories left to bang through here. Appreciate you guys hanging out. Yeah, Gothic narrates horror stories as well, so if you guys are looking for, check out a new voice, definitely check out Gothic's channel. I think if you click on her name, it'll take you there. Oh, beard scratches be loud. Yeah, it seems like my mic just picks up, like hones in on anything. Let's see. It's weird, scratch. Oh, yeah, when I talk, it's definitely louder, but when I scratch, what if I get closer? Doesn't seem to like jump up or anything, but if you're hearing it. Do your chills voice. Murmur. Gothic has the female buttery voice, and Jensen too. He's got the voice of a stick of butter that's been vaping for 90 years. Wonder if ASMR beard scratching would be a good video. If you guys could start like a YouTube channel, what kind of YouTube channel would you start? Because like honestly, like how, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know how people start YouTube channels anymore, to be honest. Hamilton with the 2 voices. I don't know what to say. That's okay. I appreciate the 2 either way.
Hey, listen.
Tis good to see you. Wait, did Jensen say he was going to stream later? After this? I'm going to stay true no matter how many fans I get. Everyone gets wrapped up in the fame. Too good for your fans. Yeah, I mean, some people do get wrapped up in it. I don't really, I mean, I guess, I don't know. I go into my Discord and I bullshit with everyone like it's normal, you know? Like I don't really give a fuck about the fame aspect because I haven't really experienced anything that's like manifested as actual fame, because it's not like I come across people IRL or anything like that who are like, oh my god, even though sometimes I might stumble across people and like when we played Overwatch, they'll see my name and be like, wait, are you Let's Read? I'm like, yeah. They're like, oh dude, I like your channel. Hey, real good. Good night. Gonna do some yoga. Nice. Yeah, that sounds actually perfect before bed. Okay, so a bit of context is required for this. Here in the UK, we have something called Bonfire Night. Those of you who have seen the movie V for didn't... Ah, fuck. How do I fuck that up? Those of you that have seen the movie V for Vendetta will know a little bit about it, especially that whole remember the 5th of November, gunpowder treason and plot. We see no reason why the gunpowder treason should ever be forgot. Long story short, these Catholic terrorists tried to blow up Parliament, and even they'd have been successful if it might have changed the course of history forever. I don't know if I should say the word terrorist, to be honest. I feel like it's not good to say on YouTube videos. Long story short, these guys tried to blow up Parliament, and if they'd have been successful, it might have changed the course of history forever. So every November on the 5th of the month, we make like a rag doll of the main dude in question, Guy Fawkes, then throw him on a big wood-burning fire and cheer while he burns. Only as I'm writing this out do I realize how gnarly and brutal that sounds, but yeah, you get the whole thing now. So on with the story. So back when I was in secondary school, we used to finish at 2:30 in the afternoon. I can practically hear the gasp already, since most schools don't kick out until like 3:30 to 4 o'clock, with some posher schools even going until 5 p.m. But there was a good reason why this was the case for us. I lived in a pretty rough area of Liverpool where there were two rival schools within spitting distance of each other. The rivalry and contempt between the two was so bad that they actually had to stagger the home times of each school so that these huge gang fights wouldn't kick off on Mather Avenue every afternoon. Yeah, it was that bad. So one day, a few days after bonfire night, we finish school and head up to Allerton Golf Course to smoke ciggies and share a can of lager one of us had pinched from their parents. So we missed the initial rush of kids heading back home, and we're the only ones walking back home when this car full of older lads pulls up and starts shouting stuff at us. We're all a bit mad from the few swigs of ale that we had, so we get all bolshy back and start giving as good as we get. Big mistake. They tear off in their car, disappearing round a corner and out of sight. We think we're safe. Not only that, we actually got it into our stupid bloody heads that we'd scared them away or something. So wrong. Because as we're further down the road, we hear this horrible revving engine sound. Look back, and it's the same car full of lads who commenced to get out and start throwing lit fireworks at us. It was properly chaotic. We're running for cover while these rockets and spirals are flying at us and spraying sparks all over the show. What happened next was legit like something out of a film. I watched one of these rockets take off from the pavement and fly through the air like a laser-guided missile before hitting my mate, Paul, square in his forehead, so hard it just knocks him to the ground. Blood starts pouring out of his face, pooling on the ground beneath him, and honest to God, I thought he was dead. And so did the lads in the car. And they looked almost as scared as we did, got back in the car and sped off down the road. He obviously wasn't dead, and we realized that really fast when he starts groaning and writhing on the ground. But oh my God, the blood was caked in his eyes. We're asking him to open them, and he just can't. When the ambulance arrives, we were just in bits, like I personally thought he was going to be blind forever, that the rocket had burst into his eyes or something. Fairly happy ending, though. He's fine now. Well, he's mad as a box of frogs, but he was mental before that, too. He does have this little crescent moon scar, like right between his eyebrows, though, where the rocket hit him. Not to mention a proper little war story to tell every year around the 5th of November. Cheyenne Bob with Tuba says, wouldn't we all be simps for Joel then? Hey, I welcome my simp army. Together I will rise you up to be... What's like... If beta male means simp, what's like the word for alpha male now? Is it Chad? Then they change. Is there something? What's the antithesis to a simp? Will you pretty much scratch your beard for me? I do scratch it quite a bit. It's gotten large, and I might not have the salon I'm going to doesn't even have a spot till, well, not salon, but barber doesn't have a spot till like June 10th. It's like so backed up. For the peaceful poppy. So much English jargon. Yeah, that was a UK story. A lot of people from the UK sending stories, which is cool. Yeah, there's simps and then there's chimps. You must be a chimp. I'm talking into my bottle. Can you hear me? Does it sound like my voice is inside of a tin can? Oh, 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 oh. Okay. Do you guys know that song? just drinking water. But soon on my birthday, I will be drinking not water. Yeah. Yeah. It sounds cool. Okay, I sound like a Kyle. I could be a Kyle. I have a cousin named Kyle, and we kind of look alike. I would have been the most perfect Kyle. Punching holes in walls, drinking monsters. Yes, DJ got it, the NFL theme. I forget exactly what it's called, but it's so funny. Like, some of the songs that are used in like NFL films is also used in like SpongeBob, which is hilarious. My birthday is next Thursday, June 4th, and I'll be having a birthday stream where I'll be taking a shot of peanut butter whiskey at certain increments of donations, and it'll be your job to try and get me bliggity blacked out. Okay, so this is the final story of the night, of the high school stories. The scariest thing that ever happened to me in high school might not be as traditionally scary as your traditional ghost story. There were no ghost hauntings in the library, no psycho teacher with skeletons in their closet, no ancient evil living in the maintenance tunnels beneath the earth. The thing that scared the life out of me, like 1,000 kids, was
Listen.
Mediocre B with the 20 buckaroonies and a beautiful emoji of a gray alien. Did you ever hear the stories of like gray aliens are like us from the future or some shit? I always thought that was kind of interesting. Like, humanity has changed so much and gone so far that we figured out like time travel. It's pretty freaking cray-cray. But thank you, Mediocre B, for the 20 buckadoonies. And Herbert Small with the 15 says, been tuning in. Thank you for all that you do during this time. The wife and I checked out the Blue Ghost tonight. It was beautiful. Put this towards your next peanut butter whiskey. Shout out to the wife. Thank you, wife of Herbert Small. Hope you guys have a good night. Definitely will be adding. What if I get addicted to peanut butter whiskey after all of this? And this was in fact the worst decision I'd ever made. Cheyenne Dory Bob with the 5 says, oddly, would you do a whole narration of a story while talking into the bottle? I guess I could try it right now. Let me see this. The thing that scared the crap out of me... Oh no. The thing that scared the crap out of like 1,000 kids was very, very human and, in retrospect, so very, very easy to accomplish. Did that sound cool? Sir Assington with the 15 says, happy simp birthday. Thank you, my friend. A little bit early, but I do appreciate the love. Either way. You donate to my rehab. Break me out. Break out. Let's read into streams from rehab. I'm so drunk. So fucking drunk in rehab. I remember at the hospital whenever people would go through detox and stuff. I think the most interesting thing was with like patients who had surgeries and stuff, like they would not tell their doctor that they would drink like a fifth of vodka a day to fall asleep or some shit like that, you know? And this would cause quite a bit of issues whenever they were recovering from, you know, their back surgery or some shit after they've already gone through a ton of other issues, blood loss and, you know, obviously cutting into their back or whatever the surgery was, that they would essentially detox. And dude, people who, there's a few things that are pretty scary to me, and one of them is like the people that would detox sometimes at our hospital, because they would turn in, they wouldn't remember what they would do, you know, which was the strangest thing. And it's not all the time. Detox has different varying degrees to it, I'm sure, per person, but some of them, man, they would just turn into monsters, and they would, like, you know, with their surgery issues, like try to like run out of their room to like escape the hospital because they thought they were being held prisoner. And then you come to find out that they're, you know, they drink a shit ton and just didn't warn you about it. And so we would sometimes have like in our medical cabinet that was like a fridge where we would keep a lot of antibiotics and stuff, they would also have freaking like Bush or like, Bud Light or something like that, just so that they could drink that, to keep from detoxing. But most of the time we gave like Ativan or whatever. But some of the scariest stuff was, not scary, but just freaky, was whenever people would get anesthesia, and some of the reactions that people would have to anesthesia was fucking nutball, It was like, I don't even know. Like, they would just turn into monsters, and like they'd be walking around the halls accusing you of like holding them prisoner and like just calling you terrible names, but you just have to like constantly redirect their attention somewhere else as they. I remember one woman, it was just like all night in the early night, till the early morning, just wandering around the halls trying to figure out how to escape this prison that she was in, and just screaming at you and saying all these terrible things. And eventually it gets to the point where they get violent, and then you like have to get orders to tie them down and shit like that, which is not as inhumane as it makes it sound, but it's just shit was annoying as fuck. Holy hell. Venus Flytrap with the 5 says, I'm still here. I like to craft the mines to your voice. Oh, nice. You are now digging for resources. There was a big Minecraft update, wasn't there? I was curious what that was all about. Leslie with the 15 says, trying to hear you dominate, not be a simp. That's okay. I can do my best to be a dom. Hardcore dommy. Oh, I guess that is the opposite, right? The opposite of a simp is a dom. Or a dommy. I'm kind of a dommy myself. Alex E with the 5 says, hey yo, Joseph, what's your impersonation of a sentient bottle of lotion? There you have it. The thing that scared the life out of like 1,000 kids was very, very human and, in retrospect, so very, very easy to accomplish. I went to a really old school here in Australia, like this old private school that looked more like Hogwarts than the cookie-cutter modern high schools you see in America. It was archaic, to say the least. We had houses, just like the ones in Harry Potter, with your own special colored ties, housemasters, prefects, the works. We also had these big old chemistry labs that were honestly like the kind of stuffy wooden relics were run. We also had these big old chemistry labs that were honestly like the kind of stuffy wooden relics where Roger Waters, Jesus Christ. Roger Waters from the Pink Floyd. We also had this big old chemistry lab. We also had these big old chemistry labs that were honestly like the kind of stuffy wooden relics where Roger Waters would have been inspired to write The Wall. They had everything, and honestly, they were really, really fun to have lessons in once we were old enough to be trusted to handle very volatile chemicals. Dropping magnesium into water was one of the most fun times I've ever had. So as you can imagine, I grew up really looking forward to chemistry lessons. So one day, we're all congregating outside of the chemistry labs. We're inside, as it was one of those rare Aussie rainy days that has people absolutely freaking out, like it's acid falling from the sky and not just water. I just stood there yapping away with a few mates of mine when one of them crinkled their nose, sniffing the air like, "Guys, can you smell that?" Cue the fart jokes. My mates are being completely juvenile, laughing and wafting their hands near their noses. I mean, you have to forgive us. We were all literally 13 at the time. If there's ever a time to have a childish sense of humor, it's then. But our mate who brought up the smell is still like sniffling the air, looking around, insisting he can smell something weird that's definitely not a fart. After like a minute or so, our chemistry teacher enters the building with a sour gob on him because he's been rained on. He's all like, excuse me, boys and girls," wading through the sea of kids until he gets roughly where our little group was stood. Then he starts making a similar face to one of our mates was making. Rachel Urban with the 2 says, simping for Let's Read Dad. Ooh woo. Ooh woo woo. Ooh wee wow woo woo woo. Ooh wee woo. Then he starts making a similar face to the one of my... Then he starts making a similar face to the one my mate was making, sniffing the air and all that before he suddenly has this look of horror on his face. He opens the door to the chem lab we were supposed to be using that day, and by God, I will never forget how pale he went after he shut the door again, super slowly. Boys and girls, start filing outside, please. Make your way towards the dining hall, single file, please. He was trying to stay as calm as possible, but you could hear the terror in his voice. But sir, it's raining outside, a girl in our class spoke up. And the look our teacher then shot this girl, like he was going to bloody hip-toss her through a window. She didn't say anything after that, and we all just walked through the rain towards the dining hall. For those that haven't worked it out yet, I'll break it down. Someone went into the labs, somehow got into a locked room, I think went through an open window, and turned on all the bloody gas taps. All of them, to fill the entire room with flammable gas. All of it would have taken is one little spark, and that would have been like 100 kids dead, surely. Like I said, this isn't your traditional scary story. I mean, it wasn't even scary at the time, it was just confusing. But I remember knowing something was wrong. I didn't know exactly what, but looking back, it absolutely terrifies me to think how close we all were to a horrible, explosive, fiery death. Yeah, 50% of everybody's probably sleeping, but it's all good. Resident sleeper. Well, we have reached the end of the stories, my friends, and I will be switching over to our outro script. If you guys want to tell me something you would like me to say at the end that is funny, and then you can hear it during the video and be like, oh my god, I was there when Let's read that. I'm a vampire, I'm a vampire, I'm a vampire, I am a vampire, I am a vampire, I'm a vampire, and I've lost my fangs. Do you remember that song? I'm a vampire, I'm a vampire, I am a vampire, I am a vampire, I am a vampire, I am a vampire, and I have lost my fangs. Real fans are awake. You're gonna be on the Discord, Chaz? Nice. Riggedy riggedy rock on. Hey friends, thanks for listening. Be sure to subscribe and click that notification bell to be alerted of all future narrations. If you got a story, be sure to submit them to my subreddit, r/Let's Read Official, and give and receive feedback from the community, and maybe even hear your story featured on the next video. And join my Discord to interact with me and other listeners directly. And if you want to support me even more, grab early access to all future narrations for just $1 a month on Patreon, and maybe even pick up some Let's Read merch on Spreadshirt. And check out the Let's Read podcast, where you can hear all these stories in long compilation form and save huge on data, located anywhere you listen to podcasts. Links in the bio. Thanks so much, friends. And remember, I'm a vampire. Blunny, I saw that and I just was like, yep, that's it right there. Hey, friends. Yeah, I add the birds at the end because it reminds me of the ending of, what's that movie? Evil Dead. Did you ever see Evil Dead? At the end of Evil Dead, there's like, it's the sun's coming up and birds are chirping, and she like, it's like a happy ending. She like walks out of the woods like covered in blood and that kind of thing. How do you fix the notification bell? Doesn't tell you when you do anything. Yeah, that sucks. I don't know. It's like, I feel like there's another website. Is there another website for like being alerted of that kind of stuff? I'm not really sure. You love Evil Dead? Yeah, Evil Dead was a good one. But yeah, guys, is Jensen still here? Is he gonna stream for us in his beautiful silky silkness? Just end with a fart. And remember, oh God. Evil Dead was about the Simps versus the Vamps. 5G? Question mark. Honestly, at this point, I wish I had 5G just to have the best internet. Okay, yeah, so Jensen, guys, I don't know if you're still in the mood for some streams here. I hope you are, because Jensen's a funny, talented narrator. He's the blue man on screen there. You can click on his YouTube link. It should take you over to his page and get popping off with his stream. So I hope you guys head over there and give him a chance. But yeah, I love you guys. Do appreciate everything as always. And this video, as always as well, will be out tomorrow. Well, today rather. 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then it'll be out early on Patreon once I get this audio edited, which I think I will be doing here while chilling in Discord. We shall see. But yeah, go simp on Jensen a little bit. I know he would appreciate it. But peace out, my friends. Much love. Always wear a glove. And I'll see you again soon. Soon.